So this morning, moving through our arm balancing sequence, heading towards crow pose. So we start lying on your back. And here you're going to do a lying down butterfly pose. So you can bring the soles of your feet together to touch with your knees out to the sides. And then reclining onto your back with your palms facing up towards the ceiling. At any point if this starts to feel a little bit too strong on your hips, just lie with your legs straight. Otherwise, soles of the feet together, and the closer you draw your heels towards your sit bones, the more intense that pose is going to feel. Where if your feet are a little bit further away, it might feel a bit easier. So you just decide where that's feeling good for your body this morning. And then relax your arms down to your sides, palms facing up, allow your eyes to close. And take 5 long, deep breaths here. Allowing any tension in your body to soften away. Connect with your breath. And just tune into how you're feeling this morning. If you need to take it a little bit easier today, then listen to your body. Just using this time to settling into your practice this morning. And then when you're ready, gently allowing the knees to close and hugging both knees up into your chest. Give yourself a nice big hug, and if it feels good, rock a little from side to side. Just easing into your body. And then settling back in the center with your hands onto your knees, you're going to open the knees apart and then circle your knees around. So you're drawing nice big hip circles with those legs and starting to feel a little bit of rotation into your hips. So in crow pose, we come from that little squat position, Malasana, and the legs are in an external rotation from the hips. So you'll be feeling how we're opening up those hips for our crow pose today. When you're ready, change direction of your circles and circle the knees back the other way. Good. When you're ready, settling back in the center. Taking happy baby pose, take hold of the outer edges of your feet. Bring your knees to the sides of your body and just start to feel a little opening into the inner thighs and inner groins. If you like, you can rock this out from side to side or just stay centered where you are. If the tailbone wants to curl off the ground, you can allow for that because we really want to work into this rounded shape of the spine this morning. Now keep holding your right foot and release the left sole of your foot onto the mat. So we've got a one-legged happy baby. Left foot is grounded. And then deepen the stretch of your right leg, bringing your right knee a little bit deeper into that happy baby. From here, we'll do a lying down pigeon pose. So with your left hand, take hold of your right foot and bring your right shin across your body like you do when you're in pigeon. And then with your right hand, you can gently press your right thigh out to feel a nice stretch into the outer hip and bum area. And just into that lying down pigeon. Sometimes it's nice just to rock that leg a little from side to side, especially if the legs are feeling a little bit stiff this morning. Let's repeat that. So holding right foot with right hand, single leg happy baby, opening that knee out to the side. And then bring it across again, lying down pigeon pose, holding your foot with your left hand and pressing the right thigh out with your right hand. Good, feel a nice stretch into those hips. Now keep your right leg where it is. Float your left leg up to come into a figure four stretch. So your right ankle connects with your left thigh in a figure four pose. Taking hold of the back of your left thigh or shin, and then just holding and breathing in that figure four stretch. Making sure your shoulders and neck are still relaxed on the mat. Flexing the right ankle can also feel really nice and stable in this stretch. Take one more deep breath here. And then keeping the legs in figure four, bring your arms out to the sides and take a twist to the left, landing the right sole of the foot off to the left side of the mat in a twisted figure four. And then just open your chest to the ceiling, an option to turn your gaze towards your right shoulder or hand. When you're ready, we ease that back to center and take both legs back into happy baby pose. Rock it up from side to side or do whatever feels good here. And then we keep holding the left foot and release the right sole of foot onto the ground. Single leg happy baby, deepening that stretch on the left side. Good. Moving into our lying down pigeon, right hand holds left foot as you bring your shin across your body, and then with the left hand gently press the left thigh out to feel that external rotation in the hip. Move back to single leg happy baby, left hand, left foot, and opening up through the hip, feeling stretches through inner thighs and inner groins. And last time, taking that leg across for your lying down pigeon and pressing the thigh out to feel that opening into the hip. Remember, if you want to rock it a little from right to left to deepen that stretch, it's feeling really stiff, do whatever feels good in your body this morning. And then coming into our figure four, float your right thigh up, connect it with your left ankle, and take hold of the back of the left thigh or shin into your figure four pose. Flexing the left ankle, nice and stable here. And then bringing your arms out to the sides to twist in your figure four, twisting your foot over towards the right side of the mat. And then turning your chest open towards the ceiling and maybe your gaze towards the left shoulder and hand, and just relax into that twist. Lovely. Slowly ease yourself back to center. Straighten legs up to the ceiling. And then here we're coming into cow face pose, Gomukhasana. So cross your right thigh over your left thigh. So you're crossing the thighs on top. Good. Bend your knees and then curl up up to take hold of either your shins or maybe your ankles or your feet, wherever you can take hold of, and then lie your head back down to the mat. So you should be feeling a really deep stretch into the hips here. In our Gomukhasana cow face legs. We're going to do the same with the arms now, but with the left hand on top. So left elbow on top of right elbow, and then wrap your palms together for eagle arms. You've got it, okay. We're going to do 3 little crunches up. So curl your head up and crunch knee and elbows together. And then inhale, open knees and elbows apart. And repeat, exhale, lift the head and crunch knee and elbows together. Good, use those abdominals and open apart. One more time, crunch knees and elbows together, really round the spine and round the shoulder blades. And then release and straighten legs to the ceiling and bring your arms back down to your sides. Well done, let's feel that on the other side. Left thigh wraps over the right thigh. Curling up to take hold of the feet, shins, ankles, and just relaxing into that stretch. Nice deep breaths. And then taking eagle arms, right elbow is on top this time, wrapping the forearms and palms together. We take a breath in and exhale to crunch knee and elbows together, lifting the head off the ground, and inhale as you release it back. And again, exhale to crunch knee and elbows together. Use those abdominals. Nice work there, Ari. I can see it awesome. Nice little crow crunch there. One more time. Exhale to curl up, round the spine, scoop into the tummy, and then release and straighten legs up to the ceiling. Well done. Relaxing arms to your sides, and then just hug both knees into your chest, and let it all go. Well done. So now, with your knees into your chest, bring your big toes together to touch and open your knees out to the sides. Your legs are almost in a little diamond shape. And similar to the shape that you do in crow, with your knees out to the side. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Flex your fingers towards you and push into your hands. So we're going to do crow pose lying on our back. So from here, curl your head up and take your arms between your knees so that you're curling into crow, and see if you can squeeze your knees onto your upper arms. Good. Feel the rounding in the spine, rounding in your shoulder blades, and then hug knees to chest, lower head back down and soften. So you can feel here how we can resemble the shapes of crow without actually needing to be on our hands. So let's try that one more time. Big toes together, knees open out to the sides. Hands reach up towards the ceiling, push through those palms. Good, take a breath in. And on your exhale, curl your shoulders up as high as you can. See how high you can lift your knees to your upper arms. And now from here, keep your right knee squeezed against your right arm and send your left leg forwards like a little bicycle leg. Good, inhale, bring it back and change. Exhale, right leg away. Squeeze that left knee to your left upper arm. Good, bring it in, hold one more time and you're lying down crow. Take a breath. And then releasing the head back down, softening knees to chest. Well done. Good. You might want to just roll your head from left to right because you're using your neck muscles there to lift your head off the ground, which is good. They also need to be strong. Let's just let that all go. From here, rock yourself up to a seated position in butterfly with your soles of feet together. Knees out to the sides. Good. And then just sitting up nice and tall, lengthening through the spine. If you like, you have the option to forward fold here to deepen the stretch if that feels good for you this morning. Or if it feels better for you to remain sitting upright, then do what feels best for your body. And breathe. allowing for that bit of rounding in the spine and rounding between the shoulder blades, because we need to make those shapes in order to get into our crow. When you're ready, easing back up to seated if you're in a forward fold. Extend your left leg forward, straight out in front of you. And then just bring the right sole of your foot to touch your left inner thigh. Good. Inhale as you breathe your arms up. And exhale, take a forward fold over your left leg, holding either the shin, the ankle, or your foot, wherever you take hold of. And then actively think of pushing the right knee and thigh down. So we've still got that sense of opening into the right hip. As you gently forward fold over the left leg, allow the spine to softly round forwards. And breathe. Lifting the chest, reaching arms up to come out of the pose, and then bring soles of feet back into butterfly position and lengthen to sit tall. Good, changing legs, right leg extends straight forwards in front of you. Left leg comes in, sole of foot is touching that right inner thigh. Inhale as we breathe, arms up. And exhale to forward fold over your right leg. Good. Still thinking about the left thigh pressing down, keeping a sense of opening in that left hip. And then softly rounding the spine as we forward fold over your right leg. And breathe. Good. Slowly reaching up through the arms and releasing hands down to your sides. Well done. Fold legs back into butterfly and take one more deep breath here to lengthen. Good. Closing the knees and take hold of the back of your thighs, back of your knees. You're going to round back to curl your spine and really round through your shoulder blades. Good, feel that rounding, tummy muscles are engaged. We're gonna do a seated crow pose, so float one foot up at a time, and then just find your balance for a moment. Bring your big toes together and knees open out to the side, just as you did lying down, almost in that diamond position. Keep the spine round, and then reach your hands forwards, pushing through your hands. Good, rounding the spine. And now see if you can squeeze your knees towards your upper arms and push into your hands and round through your shoulders and your back. Good. So you're in a seated crow pose now. Feel where your knees need to be up as high as possible towards your upper arms. Straighten the legs away for a moment, like a little Navasana boat pose. And then come back into your seated crow. Knees out to the sides. Squeeze them as high as you can. Push into your hands. Round through those shoulders. Take one more breath. Good. And then rock forwards to hands and knees. Well done. Coming forwards onto hands and knees. Either you pop your feet off to the side or roll over your ankles. And then coming onto all fours, again, spread your fingers. Open up through those palms. Let's take a deep breath in and exhale, round the back into a cat stretch. Let's just hold in our cat stretch today. This is the shape that we want to create. The rounding in the spine and the rounding between your shoulder blades. And then from here, look forwards just a little bit ahead of your hands. This is where we'll be focusing our drishti. And now lean your shoulders forwards over your wrists. So you feel a little stretch into those wrists, and you're looking forwards and leaning forwards, which is your mantra for crow pose. And then slowly release and rock back. Let's feel that one more time. Come back into neutral spine, and then round your back up into a cat stretch. Push the floor away from you. Really feel that push through your hands. So your arms are super active. Look forwards. And now lean forwards over your wrist. That's going to be the feeling of moving into crow pose later on. And then slowly release and uncurl back into neutral spine. Well done. If you need to just shake out your hands or do anything here, if you're not used to being on your wrists a lot, just pace yourself and take a little breather whenever you need to. Inhale, kick your right leg straight back behind you. And bring your right knee to your right upper arm. So that knee is going to go out to the side and hook towards your right upper arm on the outside. Yes. See if you can really hook your knee there. And then inhale, kick it back behind you. 2 more like that. Exhale, right knee to right upper arm. See if you can hook it on your arm, like your arm has become a shelf for your knee to hook onto. Inhale to kick it back. 1 more time, right knee to right upper arm, hook it there, now keep it there. Look forwards and lean forwards over your wrist. Squeezing your knee up against your shoulder. So it's almost like you're in a one-legged crow here. Yeah, take a big step forwards with that right foot into lizard pose. So your foot is off to the side. On the outside of your right hand, you may want to walk your hands forwards a bit if you need to. Keep your arms straight. I'm going to show you with the other leg. And then squeeze your right knee up against your right shoulder. So it's a nice active lizard. Can you feel that? That sense of squeezing the knees to the upper arms, which we'll use later on. Take a breath here in your lizard. And now, from here, tuck your back toes, straighten your back knee, and take a step forwards into a Malasana squat. So step your feet wide and squat down towards the front of your mat. Toes are turned out. Your upper arms are coming between your inner knees. And again, we're getting a sense of that shape. Okay. From here, ground your hands. We swap legs. Step your right foot back behind you. Good. Lizard pose. Left leg's in front, and you step your right foot back. Lower your right knee to the mat. Bring your hands back a little bit closer towards you, and kick your left leg back behind you. Repeat that on the left side. Left leg is back. Take a breath in. Exhale, hook left knee to left upper arm. See if you can hook it on your arm like a shelf. Inhale to kick back. And repeat. Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Hook it there. Inhale as you kick back. Good. 1 more time. Left knee to left upper arm. Hook it there. Stay there. Look forwards. Lean forwards. Keep squeezing your knee to your arm. Step your foot forwards. Lizard pose. Walk your hands forwards in line with the foot. And then in your lizard, squeeze your left knee up against your left shoulder. Feel that connection into that inner thigh, which will help you later on to keep your knees against your upper arms. Take a breath here. Tuck the back toes, straighten your back knee, step forwards to the front, Malasana, feet wide, toes turn out, squatting down through those hips. Bring your upper arms and your shoulders between your knees. So again, we're making that connection of where our knees will be placed up against our arms. Slowly rise up to standing, working those legs. Keep your feet wide, and you're going to swivel on your toes, just to swivel with your thighs crossed facing the back of the mat, and little curtsy squat, send the arms back. Good, we're going to bring that back around, keeping the feet wide, swivel your feet to face forwards, and then swivel around the other way, your thighs cross over, and you send your arms back, little curtsy squat. Inhale, swivel back to standing, and then step feet together, Tadasana, mountain pose, releasing arms to your sides. Take a moment just to ground, close your eyes, connect back with your breath. And let go of any tension in your body. Good. Eyes open. Bend your knees and squat down Utkatasana. So just as we spoke about yesterday, we use that Utkatasana to really work into those legs. So weight back into those heels. Bum back, sit low into your chair pose. Good. Squat all the way down. Your feet may be together now, knees out to the sides. Make sure knees are happy here. If it's too strong, stay in chair. Bring hands to the mat and take a little step or a jump back into plank if you're feeling up for it. Yay, nice. And a slow, strong push into those hands to take the hips up and back, downward dog. Breathe here in your down dog. Inhale your right leg up, three-legged dog. And bring your right knee again to hook on your right upper arm. Hook your knee like a shelf. Good, rock forwards. Inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. And repeat 2 more times. Exhale, right knee to right upper arm. Hook that knee. Yes. Inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. 1 more time. Hook right knee to right shoulder. Pause there, look forwards, lean forwards. Yes. And kick back, three-legged dog. Back into downward facing dog. Well done. Gaze to the top of the mat. Walk, step, or maybe jump into a Malasana squat. Come to squatting at the front of the mat. Feet together if that feels okay. Push down into your heels. Utkatasana, chair pose. Work back into those heels. Sit your bum back. Rise to standing, high mountain. And release Tadasana, mountain pose. Well done. We're going to repeat that on the other side. Take a moment just to breathe. Let's go. Bending the knees. Utkatasana, chair pose. How low can you sit? Squat all the way down. Malasana squat. Knees open out. Feet may stay together. Ground the hands, take a step or a jump into plank. Nice. And slow, strong push into downward facing dog. On the other side, left leg rises up, three-legged dog. Let's go, left knee to left upper arm, 3 times. Exhale, rock forwards for 1. Hook that knee up against your arm. Inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. Exhale, rock forwards, knee to upper arm, hook it there like a shelf. Inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. Last time, exhale, knee to upper arm, hook it there, pause there, look forwards, lean forwards. Push back, three-legged dog, well done. Release back, downward facing dog. And breathe. Gazing to the top of the mat, walk, step, or take a little jump into a Malasana squat, squat low. Feet together if that feels okay, or apart. Push down through the heels, chair pose. Rising back to high mountain, inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down, release, and ground. Well done. Take a moment to come back to your breath. And let's flow. Inhale, arms up, high mountain. Exhale, this time slow forward fold, coming all the way down. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, ground your hands. You can step or continue to jump back into plank. And slowly pushing through the hands, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg rises for three-legged dog. This time stepping forwards into a low lunge. Good. From here, we're going to turn to Skandasana. So remember yesterday, some of you are going to be a little bit higher up. So option to be Skandasana here, right? Ari, if knees are uncomfortable, or Skandasana low. Feel where that's working for you. Turn to the side, Skandasana on your right leg. That's it. Hands can be on the floor for additional support, or hands to heart center. Transition to the other side, Skandasana to the left. Flex your right toes to the ceiling if that's working for you today. Turn to the back of your mat, so turn to low lunge with your left foot in front facing the back of your mat. And step back, downward facing dog. You're in down dog facing the back of your mat and breathe. So we're starting to work a little bit deeper into our inner thighs through our Skandasanas. Left leg rises up, three-legged dog. Step forwards to low lunge at the back of the mat. Turn to the side, Skandasana. On the left knee is bent, right leg is straight. Find where your pose is working for you. Slowly transition over to the right side. Good, we're going to do a lot of these, so make sure you're finding the best variation for you today. Turn back to the right leg, back to the front of your mat, low lunge. And step back, downward facing dog. All right, so make sure you're practicing what's best for your knees in those Skandasanas. If you're higher up, almost in a goddess pose, play it safe because we're going to do that a few more times. Gaze to the top of the mat. Walk, step, or jump to hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Rising up to standing. Reach up, high mountain. And then ground back, Tadasana, mountain pose. Well done. Take a moment to breathe and ground. From here, we're going to move into a moon salutation, which is actually a really nice variation of sun salutations, with a much more emphasis on opening through the hips. Okay, so you may have done this before, maybe you haven't. At the front edge of your mat, inhale, arms up, high mountain. Drop your right arm to the side and take a little side stretch over to the right. Inhale, arms up. Dropping the left arm down, little side stretch to the left. Good. Inhale, arms up. Now with your left foot, take a big step into goddess pose. Good. And if you find that now you are facing the wrong way and you would like to face towards me, you can always flip around, okay? And then pretend, just switch the front and the back edge of your mat. And then you'll be facing me if it bothers you, okay? We're going to move from our goddess into triangle pose. So turn your right foot out 90 degrees. Left toes turn in. Remember, natural hips. Reach to the right. Nice lengthened side body. Triangle pose, front leg is straight. Bring hand to shin, ankle or floor. And then remember that leaning back of the shoulders. So your shoulders stack over your bottom shin and opening up through your chest. Beautiful. From here, you're going to turn on the ball of your back foot and fold into a pyramid pose over your right leg. So that back foot is turned onto the ball of the foot. You square your hips towards the front of your mat. Good. Coming into a low lunge, bend the knees, ground the left back knee down, and inhale your arms up. Good. Moving back into our Skandasana, so whichever version is best for you. Maybe you're upright here, maybe you're down here. Listen to your body. And then move to Skandasana to the left. Good, well done. We bring that back around. Low lunge over your left leg. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, ground your hands for pyramid pose, straightening the knees. And forward fold into pyramid over your left leg. Nice. Ground your back heel, ground the right back heel and open up for triangle pose, hand to the shin, right arm opens up. Yes, remember those natural hips, allow that back hip to roll towards the floor slightly so that you can fold more from the hips and lengthen through the side body. Come up for goddess pose. Turning the feet out, goddess squat. Nice. And then you're going to step towards your left foot. So we may have changed direction on the mat. Step to your left foot, coming up, facing the back of the mat for some. If you've switched, it might be different. All good. And then relax, arms down. Okay, we do the same, bringing it back. Inhale, arms up. Drop your left arm down, little side stretch to the left. Inhale, arms up. Dropping the right arm down, little side stretch to the right. Inhale, arms up. The right foot takes a big step this time, goddess pose. Nice. Press your thighs out in your goddess. Remember, you want those knees to point forwards with the toes. Straighten the legs, triangle to the left. Left foot turns out 90 degrees. Right toes turn in. Arms straight, legs straight. Natural hips as you move into your triangle pose. Lovely. Lean the shoulders back. Open up through the chest. Moving to pyramid, so you turn on the ball of your back foot and forward fold over your left leg. Good. Bend the knees, low lunge. Ground your back knee and inhale, arms up. Good. Exhale, we're coming to Skandasana, so maybe a little bit more upright. Maybe low in your Skandasana. Be where it's best for you. And then transition to Skandasana onto your right leg. Well done. Low lunge to the right leg, bringing it back in reverse. Inhale, arms up. Bringing hands to the mat, pyramid pose, straightening that right leg in front. Lovely. Next we have triangles, so ground your back heel, right hand to right shin, and opening your chest up for triangle pose. Lovely. Goddess pose, inhale, come up. Press your thighs out as you squat deep into those legs. Feel that opening in your hips and your goddess. We step back to the right foot, stepping back up to the top of the mat. And then release arms down to your sides and take a moment to breathe and ground. And that is your moon salutation. Really a nice flow. We're going to add on to that a little bit more now. So stand on your right foot. Bring your left ankle over your right thigh for standing figure four stretch. You're standing on your right foot, left ankle's crossed over right thigh, standing figure four pose. Feel that nice opening in the left hip. Now with that left foot step wide, goddess pose. Good, into goddess. Well done. Straighten arms and legs and turn your feet parallel. Slowly forward fold into a wide-legged forward fold. You're going to keep your hands underneath your shoulders. Arms straight. And from here, look forwards past your hands. So if your hands were the two bottom corners of a triangle, your drishti, your focal point, is that top corner of the triangle, okay? Look forwards and now lean forwards over your wrists. So your feet become lighter as you shift more weight into your hands. And then softly rock back, don't overdo it. Look forwards, lean forwards is your mantra. And then slowly rock back. One more time. Look forwards, lean forwards. And gently rock back. Well done. Triangle on the right. Right foot turns out, right hand to right shin, and opening up triangle on the right side. Can you see why it's important to have wide feet to link all these transitions. Pyramid pose. Turn onto the ball of your back foot. Forward fold, pyramid. Bending the knees, low lunge. Inhale, arms rise up. Good. Exhale, arms float down. Malasana squat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Feet together. Knees bend out to the side. And this time, bring your elbows towards the floor in Malasana. So we're getting even more round, even more compact. Getting those knees higher and higher up to those shoulders. Feel that shape. Good. And then step back up onto your hands. Step your left foot back for Skandasana, turning to the side. Skandasana upright or Skandasana low. Transition to the left, Skandasana to the left side. Well done, we bring it back around. Low lunge to your left foot's in front. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down for pyramid pose, straightening that front leg. Triangle pose. Ground your back heel, left hand to left shin, opening the chest up for triangle pose. Well done. Coming up for goddess pose. Turn both feet out. Goddess squat. Nice. We step to meet the left foot. For me, it's at the back of the mat. Left foot, we meet, arms up. And exhale, grounding back into Tadasana. Bringing it back around. Stand your weight on your left foot. Cross right ankle over left thigh. Standing figure four pose. Feel that nice stretch into your right hip. Take a big step out with your right foot, goddess pose. Lovely, push those thighs up for that opening into the hips. Straighten arms and legs. Turn your feet parallel. And forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. We stay on the hands with hands underneath the shoulders. Look forwards, lean forwards onto your hands. And then softly rock back. Two more like that. Your mantra is to look forwards, lean forwards. And gently rock it back. One more time. See how much you can lean onto your hands that your feet feel light as if you could float into a little handstand. And then rocking it back. Well done. Triangle on the left. Left foot turns out 90 degrees. Right toes turn in. Right hand to right shin. Sorry, left hand to left shin. Opening up for triangle pose on the left. Nice. Pyramid pose. Turn on the ball of the back foot, forward fold, pyramid. Low lunge, ground the back knee, inhale, arms up. And from here, prepare to step forwards into a Malasana squat. Bring hands forwards, feet together, Malasana squat, knees opening wide. And this time, see if you can bring your elbows closer to the floor. Getting more round, more compact. Stepping back up onto your hands. Right foot steps back, turning for Skandasana on the left. And transition to Skandasana to the right. Lovely. Bringing it back around, low lunge over the right leg. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Straighten the front leg, pyramid pose. Nice. Triangles next. Ground your back heel. Right hand to right shin. Open up for your triangle. Well done. Coming up, goddess pose, turning both feet out, squat low. Lovely. And then stepping back to your right foot, feet together, arms up. And release back into mountain pose. Well done. Take a moment to breathe and ground. So now we're going to start heading towards crow. If you want to have your pillow and your block, grab it now. We're going to flow our way into it. Have your goodies handy. All right. Let's flow to downward dog and we'll take it from there. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, step, or if you're still feeling feisty, jump back into plank. Slow, strong push into your downward facing dog. Breathe in here and down dog. Good. Walk your hands back towards you a little bit, so you're in a short downward dog, and then walk your feet forwards a bit, and then come to a malasana squat in the middle of your mat. So you've got lots of space. Okay, if you're using your pillow, have your pillow in front of you, okay, so it's not so scary, your pillow is there to catch you. And if you want to try with the block, this is really cool, you'll have your toes on the block, so you're kind of like perched on the block, and then you can do malasana with your toes on the block. And what this does is it really puts you in the right position that you don't have to lean forwards as much, so it's a bit less scary. So if you want, your toes and the balls of your feet are on the block. All right, feet are together, malasana squat, okay. Try and bring your elbows towards the floor, so you're getting really nice and round and compact, okay. Feel that rounding. Now from here, drag your hands back towards you and wedge your knees towards your upper arms. You almost want to drag your hands back so they can't go back anymore, okay? Now lift your chest, rise to the balls of your feet, and then just shuffle your knees on your upper arms again. So you really feel like you've got a good hook of your knees on your upper arms, okay? Lift your chest and now look forwards. If you look down, you go down. Look forwards, you're going to fly. Look forwards and lean forwards is your mantra. Just look forwards and now lean a little bit towards your hands. Look forwards, lean forwards, and maybe just lift one foot off the floor, off the block. And then rock it back. And then again, if you need to shuffle your knees on your arms again, just to kind of reset, go for it. And then maybe lift the other foot, just one foot, don't go crazy. Look forwards, lean forwards is your mantra. The more weight you shift forwards, the lighter your feet become. Yay! Nice, everyone. Okay, come up to standing. I know it's really addictive and fun now. Give your body a little break. We're going to try it again. Just stand upright. Oh, give those hips a little breather because it's quite intense being in that squat. Could you feel how maybe if you were using the block, it tipped you forwards that you were already there? And if it felt safer with your little pillow, then continue to do that again. If you feel like, okay, I want to try this without the block, go for it. Let's do it one more time. So with feet together, squat down, malasana. Okay. Now don't rush the setup. Take your time. Bring your elbows towards the floor. So it's getting you round and compact. Then slide your hands back, your elbows will lift, and then wedge your knees onto your upper arms, and then lift your chest, and then just hook your knees up again so it feels really nice and secure. Don't rush that little bit. If you're in sleeves, just watch, you might feel a little bit more slippy with long sleeves on. Okay? Then look forwards. Make sure your hands are quite wide, shoulder distance or wider. Look forwards, Lean forwards and then just feel the feet, maybe one foot becoming lighter, maybe now both feet. Yay, and if both feet are up, big toes together, heels to bum. Just to make it look fancy. Yay, lovely everyone. Look forwards, lean forwards is your mantra. Nice. That's it, Ari. Feet together. That's it, Amy. Toes to touch. Nice, Miriam. Nice, Alice. Well done. Look forwards, lean forwards. The more weight you shift to your hands. That's it, Michaela. You were right there. Don't put your head on the bolster. Lift your nose up. Yes, Nicole. Nice, Clara. It's all in the setup of just feeling where your knees need to be. If your feet don't lift today, that doesn't matter. Just feel like you've got the shape because that's where it's all at. When you're done, have a sit on your bum and just breathe. If you want to try one more, I know it's very addictive. And once you get going, you can't stop. Look forwards, lean forwards, feet together, point your toes. Yes. Well done. Yay. Come to sit with your legs crossed on the mat. That's it, Cindy. Legs crossed, sitting up nice and tall. Just take a moment to breathe. All right, close your eyes. Take a moment to ground all that excitement. Really fun. And then take your fingertips behind you now and just lift your chest. So we've done a lot of rounding. We've been really compact. So now just a little lift in your chest, squeezing shoulder blades together. Opening up the front of the body again. And then with your hands behind you, just uncross your legs, bring your feet out in front of you. Shuffle your bum forwards and slowly lie down onto your back. Keep your knees bent and just allow your spine to come into its natural curves. If you've still got a block handy, I'm going to give you an option there in a second, which is really nice. We're going to do an active bridge first. So feet hip distance apart and push your hips up into bridge. Just to undo all the rounding we've been doing in our spine. Little bridge. If you want to interlace your fingers and tuck your shoulders underneath you, feel free to just give a little bit more lift in the chest. Wherever that feels nice for you. Good. Push through the feet, lift the hips as high as possible. Take a nice, deep, expansive breath in. And then slowly lower back down. Good. I'm going to do that one more time. You also have the option here to place a little block, flattest block, underneath your hips. So not in your back, not in your spine, but underneath your pelvis. Okay, so one more active bridge, pushing up. Okay, you can hold there for as long as you like. Or if you've got a block and you would like to try my favorite pose in the world, a supported bridge with a block underneath your pelvis, it'll also feel really nice to release. Wherever you are, lowering hips back into the floor or back into a block. Just settling back. So if you found the block and that feels amazing, feel free to just stay here for a few more moments. If your pelvis is on the floor, you can do a few knee rolls from side to side and just take that into a little twist from right to left. At this point, just do whatever feels good in your body to release and unwind after all those fun little arm balances. Whatever you need in this moment. And then when you're ready, you can begin to move towards your Shavasana. Taking the block out if it's still there, straightening your legs out one at a time, or if you need a little twist, from side to side, anything you need. And slowly starting to move towards being comfortable for Shavasana. Record again. All right, so we're coming into tree pose. So we're going to start with the feet in Tadasana. All right. Feet together or slightly apart, whatever works for you. And we're going to take hold of the right ankle and bring the heel as high as we can to the top of the left thigh. Okay, so there's always the issue of that foot slipping off, right? If you've got slippery yoga pants, or it's always the challenge around this pose. So my advice for you here is when you've got your foot up, squeeze your inner thigh to your heel and then flex your foot slightly so that you kind of dig your heel into your inner thigh to get those two to stick. Okay. Because of the shape of your legs or for whatever reason, this might not suit you. Your foot might not be in this position. Anywhere along this leg is fine. So first of all, we can just have the toe on the floor. If balance is really an issue, then you can bring your foot up towards your ankle, right? We've often heard never on the knee, right? Your knee isn't going to break if you put your foot there. It might just not feel as comfortable, right? But it's not a huge drama. And then anywhere along your thigh to get that foot to stick, okay? Your hips are going to point forwards in this. So your shoulders and hips are pointing forwards. So which means your knee will just open out as far as it goes. Okay. So from the side, if your knee isn't pointing straight out to the side, that's fine. It's going to just open externally as far as what your hip goes. Okay. The toes of your tree foot are going to be pointing straight down to the floor. So these toes kind of aren't curling around your bottom thigh. Okay, and then with the hands, what's really nice is to first just bring hands to heart center. And I really like that because it kind of brings you towards your center line to feel that balance. And then when you feel steady, you can take arms up overhead with your hands just parallel to one another. Or remember scaption if that feels nice in your shoulders. Remember hands in prayer is the hardest. You could do that if that feels fine for you, but generally you will have those arms parallel. With the hips, you don't want to kind of sink and drop into this hip. There's a sense of lengthening. Again, if you just gave that cue of lengthening up through the sides of the body and reaching up through your arms, it would get you out of that sinking into the hip. Okay, do you want to give it a go and then let me know if you have any questions? So come to stand in Tadasana. Good. Feet together or slightly apart, whatever feels good for you. Take hold of your right ankle and see if you can bring it up towards your left inner thigh. If that is just not an option, your foot on your calf or your ankle is also totally fine. Now, what is the key to balance? You're all muted with your foot up in the air, so if you can't shout it out, drishti. Okay, if you focus your eyes, yes, Ron. If you focus your eyes, your body will balance. Feel the difference. Close your eyes. You'll most likely want to fall over, right? So your eyes are the key component to balancing. Like we saw when we were in crow, when we go into handstands, all sorts of stuff. It's all about your eyes. So find a focal point for your eyes to lock onto. And when you feel steady, inhale, reach both arms overhead. Your foot can be wherever it goes and wherever it holds, because depending on your body, that foot may not stick. Okay. And then nice to bring hands back to heart center and release back to Tadasana mountain pose. Okay, let's feel that on the other side. Take hold of your left foot and bring your left foot up towards the inner thigh. Now flex your left ankle. Dig your heel into your thigh. Flex it. Yes, Miriam, you've got a good hold there. Sometimes it just slides. That's okay. It's also totally fine. It can be frustrating, but it really doesn't matter. There you are. And then squeeze your inner thigh into that foot. When you're ready, you can inhale, arms up, and then feel the sides of your body lengthening upwards with your arms so it feels like you're lifting up through your waist. Good. Your hips are pointing forwards. Your knee just opens as far as it naturally goes. You bring hands back to heart center and release. Tadasana. Well done. Okay, very straightforward. Come and have a chat. Let me know if you have any questions. Yes, Miriam.
So I find that this leg is stronger than this one. This one can't even go up. Even when I try to dig it in and try to flex it, it always slides down. But if I'm doing tree when my thighs are naked, I can keep them both high.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
No, sometimes it's just the texture and the fabric that you're wearing makes it much harder for your foot to stick. Where if you work skin on skin, it's amazing.
Yeah, because skin on skin, it never slips and it goes way up. But when I'm wearing clothes, this leg is more adaptable than the other one. I always thought that this leg is weaker or something.
I know. And it's actually a big thing in yoga. So when you want to do arm balance and things, like even in crow today, if you're wearing long sleeves, you could slip, your knees can just slip off your arm because of your top. And it's the same here with tree. Your foot can just slip off because of your pants. So maybe when you're at home, you can just practice in your shorts and be comfortable and get that foot to slip and to hold. But it's not a drama. Of course, when we're demonstrating the pose to our students, ideally, if we're saying bring your foot up nice and high, we want to try and get that foot to hold. But I promise the more you squeeze those two together, like you got on that left side, you really squeezed it in. It really helps to keep your foot up nice and high. Okay, but sometimes it also just depends on the shape of your legs. Sometimes your foot just doesn't work for your body, and that is also fine. Any other questions around tree pose? Okay, quite straightforward. Yes?
So would it if you have them some.
Sorry, Dee, your connection's quite bad and I can't. Okay, we lost her for a moment. Dee? Okay. Dee, we'll come back to you. But I think maybe where she was heading towards, I'll just guess, is you could also teach this pose against a wall. So you could have your fingertips against the wall to help steady and get your balance, or your back against a wall, especially if you're teaching beginners and balance is a real issue. It can be very, very, very helpful. Okay, I will show you how we'll incorporate the wall for some bigger balances in a moment as well. So Dee, we'll come back to you with that question. Anything else around tree pose? All good. Okay, quite straightforward. So let's move on to our next one, which is eagle pose, Garudasana, which has a very pretty name. We did Garudasana arms today in the arm balancing sequence. Yeah. And why do you think we use this arm position for crow today? What does it do to your shoulders? What was that, Lara? Good actions there.
No, you get the rounding in the shoulders.
Exactly. Your shoulder blades are moving apart and you get that experience of rounding into the upper back. So that can be a useful way to also allow your students to experience what they should feel in crow with those eagle arms. So a nice prep for things like that. Okay. Okay, so in this eagle pose, the main thing, which is always gets tricky, is it's opposite arms to legs. Okay, so if my right leg is on top, the left arm is on top. Okay, so that you're just going to have to make a mental note of, or a mantra that works for you. So either right leg on top, left arm on top, or another one that works for people is if right leg is over, right arm goes under. When we do it, you can decide how you're going to remember opposite arms to legs. Okay, I will show you quickly and then we'll give it all a go. Okay, you've probably done this one also in your classes. Okay, so for Garudasana, eagle pose, we start in Tadasana. It helps to bend the knees. Because you're wrapping the thighs around, it can feel tough to do that with straight legs, okay? So with like a little Utkatasana bend, cross right ankle over right thigh over left thigh. Okay, this bottom foot, it doesn't matter if it doesn't curl around your back calf, because simply it also depends on your hip flexibility, the width of your legs, your knees, the shapes of your bones. So if you are here, that is also perfectly fine, okay? It does not need to curl around your calf. Okay, your leg goes there, cool, doesn't matter. The purpose of this pose is to balance, okay? So once we've got that leg crossed over, your hips are pointing forwards, and you try and center your knee to point forwards as well, okay? So hips and knees pointing forwards. Then opposite arms to legs, my right leg is on top, so I'm taking my left elbow on top and wrapping the palms together. Okay, from the side with those arms, I'm not going to leave my shoulders up to my ears. I'm going to draw the shoulders down a little bit, and I'm not going to have my hands on my forehead. I'm going to move the forearms slightly away from the face. And I'm trying to bring those hands to touch, palms together. Okay. I think that's all. So once we're in the pose, I'm doing the other side now, you're trying to bring your knees and your elbows to the middle. So you're not off to the side like this. You're trying to bring everything to center. The deeper you bend your knees, the easier it is to balance and wrap the legs. Okay, let's give it a go. Come to Tadasana, mountain pose. And then bend your knees to start. Okay, so you get a little grounded. As always, focus drishti for balance. Lift your right thigh up and cross it over your left thigh. You might feel it's helpful the more you bend your left knee, the easier it is to wrap that leg around. Okay, now focus your eyes. Good. Square your hips towards the front. So your knees are fairly in the middle. The deeper you bend, the easier it is to anchor. Now opposite arm on top. So if right leg is on top, your right arm goes underneath and your left arm goes above. Yes. Now lift your elbows up in line with your shoulders. Draw your shoulders a little away from your ears and move your hands slightly away from your face. Bend those knees and really sit into it. Now you have to try and focus your drishti through your hands, which is hard, or through your forearms. Slowly release, well done, and shake it out. Okay, feel it on the other side. Let's start. Now you can also do arms first. So if you feel like the arms throw you off, let's do arms first. So let's bring the right arm on top and left arm underneath. Okay, so we've already got the arms in place. So that's not going to throw you off now. Then bend your knees and take your left thigh over your right thigh, opposite arms to legs. Good, squeeze those thighs together. Bend nice and deep. There you are, shoulders a little bit away from the ears. And then release and unwrap. That seemed a little bit easier, didn't it? So you could do it all simultaneously, or you could do one, then the other, arms first or legs first. Have a seat. Let me know if you have any issues there. So balance is always going to be a factor, okay? Balance is a skill. The more you do it, the better at it you get, okay? So if it's tough now, the more you do it, it'll get easier. Nicole.
Hi, sorry, are you with your back, are you supposed to be quite up straight? Because I find myself like automatically leaning forward, sort of like in chair.
You will lean forwards a little bit, Nicole, just because it actually gives you space. So there's different ways of doing it. You can try and really cue to be upright. You can lean a little bit forward, which is kind of natural. We all kind of lean a bit forwards like chairs. So what you're doing is perfectly fine. And you'll even see in some sequences like the Bikram sequence, they forward fold all the way down and bring your knees to your elbows, or your elbows rather down to your knees. So any version is totally fine. Again, it just comes down to what do you want to teach with this pose? So sometimes I teach it when I'm teaching something like side crow or a twist, and I want to get them down and compact. Or we're playing with different balances that I may want to keep you upright. So you can also customize it to be whatever you want it to be. But a slight lean forwards is normal.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much.
Belinda.
I just also want to ask, your bum, is the weight supposed to be more in your heels, meaning that your bum is back more like in a squat? Or is it all right if it's more spaced out through your feet and the knees are almost a little bit over the ankle? Like, what is the correct position there?
So in this pose, your knees will go a little bit over your ankles. It's totally fine. And we also need to be aware that it's also fine for your knees to go past your ankles, because the fact is when we walk downstairs, our knees go way over our ankles and they don't break. We hear it a lot in yoga, and it's just a visual thing to keep it stacked, looks pretty. But in these kind of poses and low squats, like we did Malasana earlier today, your knees went way past your ankles, totally fine. And I think it also just depends on your body, where your weight may be a little bit more forwards or a little bit back, and all of that is totally cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Pleasure. Miriam.
I saw a pause for eagle pause. At some point, there was someone who was just like this. They didn't cross their arms. Is that a beginner, or would you encourage that for beginners who can't really wrap their arms around?
Here's a thing. It's actually a really great question, because a lot of people's shoulders might not be able to do this. Okay, especially if you have a shoulder niggle or something's going on, it may not be accessible. So hands in prayer is totally cool. The next version I quite like is to squeeze the elbows like this, because it still rounds your shoulder blades like eagle. I think that's also totally fine, Miriam. You could find whichever version kind of worked for you. But I tend to do this as a modification. Without the wrap, just trying to kind of squeeze in to still get that feeling of what we want in the shoulders. I haven't seen your version before, but I guess it depends on the person and maybe why they need to modify whatever feels good for their shoulders. And like Clara's doing there, she's just kind of wrapping her hands kind of together without worrying about the elbows. So all of that is fine. Because we need to also be flexible as teachers, that certain bodies or certain bone structures don't fit into wrapping like this. And that is also totally fine. We always got to, I think it's helpful in those moments, okay, what is the purpose of the pose? Okay, I want to feel that rounding in the shoulders. So how can they still feel that rounding in the shoulders, but just in a modified position? Okay. Michaela.
So I always sigh when I hear this pose, because like I cannot do this pose comfortably. Like my shoulders are very good when it comes to opening things and binding, same with my hips. But then when I get into like cow's leg pose or something like eagle, it's almost impossible for me. Are there some prep poses or things that I could practice on in like rounding my shoulders and possibly helping my hips be able to cross over a bit more.
It sounds like, Michaela, it's more of a structural thing for you. Like it's probably just the way your bones are shaped. Because there's nothing, I mean, you could obviously do a few cat stretches. I mean, after the class today would have been all those preps for you. We would have loosened up the hips to be able, because your leg's actually in external rotation in this eagle pose. And then it's adducting, so it's coming across the midline. So quite often, depending on your hip bone structure, crossing over the midline, it just doesn't like doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
So who cares? It doesn't really matter. And maybe in your shoulder as well, it doesn't like crossing the midline just because of a bone structural reason. It's probably, you know, it's much more exciting to be able to open up this way and more useful than I mean, this is the only pose where we do this with our arms. And there's only two poses where you cross your legs over. It's like cow face pose, like you were saying, and eagle. So out of all the poses in yoga, so many, two might be a bit uncomfortable because your leg doesn't quite like doing that. So I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Cool.
And you could explore as a challenge for yourself, trying to do like your twists where one leg's crossed over the other, and see by stretching outer thighs and things if it makes any difference. You could always investigate, but most likely it's a structural thing, I think.
Okay, thank you.
And it's fine, doesn't matter. Clara?
It's just, do you always cue the right side first, or do you sometimes cue the other side first?
No, I think it would be good to sometimes go left first. We always go right first. It's always like an almost energetic thing. We always go right to left, you know, in that kind of circular action. But I think for fun, why not change it up and do left first? I think it would be really good. There's no any huge benefit to doing right before the left. I think it's just kind of what we're used to. Both is fine. Okie dokie. So those are your first two balancing poses. And the next few are quite a bit more challenging. So I want to spend a little bit more time focusing on those. So we're going to come to Warrior 3 next. Dee, we didn't quite catch your question earlier about tree pose because you lost signal. Do you want to see if you can chat now and maybe ask what you wanted to say?
Thank you. You covered what I needed to know. Fine.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Just checking. All right, everyone. So then we're going to come to Warrior 3. Sorry, Dee, we're struggling to hear you today. If you can just type any questions in your chat box, and then I'll be able to read them just because I'm struggling to hear you, okay? But we haven't forgotten about you. Okay, I'm going to move on to page 60 for Warrior 3. So, of course, now we've done that in your Warrior 3 sequence. So we've explored this pose quite a bit, right? And it's quite a big pose, quite challenging. There's a lot going on there. So the back leg is reaching away from you. Does anyone know what we call it when your leg moves towards being behind you? Ooh.
Isn't it an extension?
Yes. So in Warrior 3, it's a bit of a trick question because your body is in this letter T. If your leg goes higher than the hip, it's an extension. And if it's in line with the hip, it's kind of just in line with the hip. But from the floor to taking it back, we're using those extensor muscles to take the leg back. So it's a bit of a tricky one, that, but you are right. Okay. And then our front leg, we're folding forwards. If the back leg is moving towards hip extension, if it's higher than the hip, it's hip extension. If it's in line with the hip, it's kind of neutral, but we know what we mean. What is the front leg doing?
Flexion.
Yes, well done. Okay, so this always seems a little bit overwhelming, these anatomical terms in the beginning, but the more we can incorporate it into movement and poses, the more it can make sense. So you saw on Friday night, we did a lot of scissoring action with the legs, right? We bring in one leg forwards into flexion and one leg back into extension to create that action and shape. Okay, so that's a typical way of sequencing for Warrior 3. Don't have to stress too much about it, but it's good you're slowly starting to think about what we call these joint movements, because it's going to make it easier for you when you break down poses. Super overwhelming right now. I promise it'll all make sense. Okay, so Warrior 3. Of course, we want our hips to be fairly parallel. Okay, that's what we're looking for in this pose. We're in a forward bend and our leg is going back behind. Some awesome ways to try this pose. If you have a wall, forward fold, take your foot against the wall, okay? And then your bottom leg is coming straight down from the hip. And then you've got the wall to help you feel, keeping your hips nice and straight. It's actually really hard. And you can also have an opportunity to play with different arm versions here. So that's a really nice way to practice this pose at home. I will warn you, it's tough. And you can also turn it around the other way and have your fingertips against a wall. And then here, you at least not having to worry as much about the balance. You can kind of just focusing on, okay, what is my back foot doing? What are my hips doing? Can I straighten this bottom leg, or do I need to bend it a bit for my hamstrings? So I recommend playing with the wall when you practice this pose, or even now if you like, okay? But in a vinyasa class, we're often flowing into the pose, right? So we do it a couple ways. We can also come from a Tadasana, and I quite like this pendulum action, moving into the pose, all right? And then we can also come into it from a high lunge, okay? And remember, my tip for you was, when you start to enter the pose, stay in the lunge, okay? The bottom leg, if it goes straight, you tend to open up your hips quite a lot. If you bend this knee, okay, it makes it easier for you to drop this hip and keep the hips more parallel to the floor, okay? So if I'm coming in from a high lunge, you can bring your hands down because arms up is harder. Go for it if you want. Step into the pose. Firstly, I need to focus my drishti. Secondly, I'm lunging to help me square the hips. Your back foot can be flexed if you like, because it helps you kind of know what your back leg is doing, okay? It can also be pointed, and it can also be what we call flointed between a flex and a point. The dancers will call it a demi point, which actually feels quite nice because you get a little bit of both. Okay, you feel what feels best for you. So from my high lunge, I shift my weight forwards, keeping my chest parallel to the floor. Get into the position, get my balance, feel what's happening in that back leg, and then you can decide, airplane arms, hands in prayer, or the hardest one, arms forwards, and then there's the option to straighten out that bottom leg, okay? Why is it harder with your arms over your head?
You're adding load.
Yes! Ooh, we were on it there. Love it. So we can always make poses harder or easier by adding load. By adding load, we increase strength, which is awesome. What are we loading? What muscles are being loaded? Hey, Michaela?
Your back muscles.
A bit in your back and then in your legs.
Yeah, the standing leg mostly.
Yes, the standing leg. Which muscles in the standing leg?
Quads and hamstrings to keep you from falling forward.
Hamstrings.
Yeah.
Because you're coming forwards, those hamstrings are stretching and being loaded. Well done.
Yeah.
Someone likes anatomy. Want to give it a go? Okay. So if you would like to try it against a wall, please feel free to. It's really fun. Otherwise, you can come from your lunge. Keep the bottom leg bent. As you enter the pose, Drishti is your focal point. Drishti, look on the floor for balance. That's it, Ari. Good. Now, straighten your back leg. Yes, straighten that back. Yes, if you're using the wall, nice, Sheena. Yeah, it's really hard using the wall. Back leg is straight. You want to get that leg parallel to the floor. Nice pose there, Alice. Beautiful. Nice, Belinda. Yes, Michaela. Nice, Nicole. Yes, Laura. Beautiful. Nice, Miriam. That's it, Annalise. Lift your back leg up a little bit higher. Yes. Excellent. Nice, Ruan. And then you can step back into a lunge or ground your feet to Tadasana. And then feel that on the other side. Can I make one more point before you go? If you have your arms in airplane, okay, watch that you don't let your shoulders drop. It almost feels like you're in a little back bend. You're squeezing your shoulder blades together and you're keeping your chest lifted. So you will feel that your back muscles are engaged a bit. Okay, watch the chest doesn't drop. Let's go on the other side. From high lunge, or from wherever you would like to take it from. Yes, beautiful. Don't forget about the chest as well. Yes, Clara, you adjusted your chest there. Well done. That's it. Now straighten your back leg. Do something with your back foot. Floint, flex, point, and then keep your chest lifted. And then try all arm versions. Hands in prayer, airplane arms, and then of course arms overhead. Wow, really intense. Good. Marley, lift your chest up just a little bit. Now you're in the perfect pose. Yes, stunning. Gorgeous. Nice poses, everyone. Back leg is strong, straight, and active. Yes. And Ari, just bring your shoulders down just a little bit more so you're in that T. And if your hamstrings are biting you in that bottom leg, a slight bend in the knee is perfect. Also, those with your crazy hyperextending knees, if it hurts now because you're on one leg, a slight bend in the knee will help to take that pressure off your hyperextended knee, if it's uncomfortable. That's it, Amy. Now lift your arms up a bit so they're in line with your hips and lift your chest. Yes. Nice, Sheena. Beautiful pose. Nice, Miriam. Active, strong, straight back leg. Okay, lots to think about. Nice, Laura. Now keep your chest lifted. Now squeeze that back leg up. Yes. Well done, everyone. And then slowly release. Yes, Ari, nice pose. Good. Stretch that back knee. Reach it away. Well done. Okay, so the forward bend sequence is really going to help you refine this pose because you're going to be prepped for it. Like today, we haven't done much prepping. We've done a few pyramids, but the more you warm up for poses like this, the better it feels when you enter them. Just as you can feel with our peak pose sequences, when you prep the right muscles, it works. Okay. We'll be doing the forward bend sequence again next Friday, so we'll play with this again. Please practice these balances. Okay, Warrior 3, like you've just done now, it's a hard pose. You're having to think about a lot of movements within a balance, okay? And then half moon pose as well is going to be a hard balance. We're going to do it next. And dancer's pose. Those three big balancing poses need time to refine. So the sooner you start working into those poses as often as you can, video yourself or, I don't know, record yourself so that you can see, am I doing the pose correctly? Okay, because those three are always the three poses I always send you away to practice more. So just a heads up, start the journey now. Okay, any questions on Warrior 3? Make note to play with it against the wall as well next week when you have some practice time. Okay, cool. If you're happy then, let me just find our page number for the next one. I made it in my own order. You'll see you've got, I'm going to do half moon next on page 63. Okay, half moon pose on page 63. Ardha Chandrasana. Ardha meaning half, Chandra meaning moon, and Asana meaning pose. Okay, so what is the difference here between Warrior 3 and then half moon pose? One leg is up and we're standing on the other leg.
Open.
Legs are straight. What was that, Michaela?
The hips and the side body opens.
Exactly. The bottom leg is externally rotated and the chest is facing the side rather than the floor. So it's very similar to triangle pose. It's basically triangle, just tipped forwards onto one foot. And all the shapes are pretty much the same when it comes to the legs. So triangle pose would be an awesome prep pose for half moon because they've got the same external rotation of the bottom leg and they're stretching inner thighs and hamstrings of the bottom leg, all the same, with the chest open and turned to the side. Can you see how they are similar? Awesome. Okie dokie. So that's often why we enter half moon pose from triangle, okay, because you have everything in place. The biggest thing I want you to make note of, you can add a star, NB, the main thing here is the bottom hand placement, okay, the hand that's on the floor. If I'm going to just show you first before coming into the pose, this hand isn't going to be quite underneath the shoulder. It's going to be slightly behind the shoulder, okay? And the reason for that is when that arm is slightly back behind you, it makes it easier to turn and twist and open the chest. Does that make sense? I will show you in the pose as well. So your hand isn't forwards in front of your chest. It may be slightly back because that's going to help to anchor you and open the chest. And I promise, it seems weird, but it's kind of make or break for this pose. If that hand is in the right place, it works. If it's in the wrong place, it doesn't work. It's the weirdest thing. You'll feel it. And those with tighter hamstrings, or also very long legs and short arms, because it also is that, a block is awesome in this pose to put your hand on. So if you have that, cool. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. But I will show you with and without the block. Okay. And I'll show you that hand as well. So let's get into it. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So I'm going to come from my triangle pose, so my Trikonasana, okay? And how my chest feels here in my triangle is how my chest should feel in half moon. My chest is open, and remember, we're not leaning forwards. You lean back so that your shoulders are stacked over the bottom shin, how we felt yesterday, right? So the chest stays the same. As I bend my front knee, I'm going to slide my hand forwards. I'm going to use a block, okay? My block isn't in line with my foot. I'm going to take that block slightly behind me. So from the side, it's not in line with my foot. I'm going to take it slightly behind me. So when I step into the pose, my hand is going to be slightly behind. Can you see that from that angle? And that, promise you, will really, really help. Okay, it's really helpful. Okay, and then from the front, so now you know the block has gone slightly behind me. Then from the front, it's under my shoulder. So this is the straight line here, under the shoulder. If it's here, promise you, you'll fall over. So it comes forwards under the shoulder and then slightly behind the shoulder. Hopefully that's not too confusing. My bottom leg is externally rotated, so I'm going to try and keep my toes pointing towards the front of the mat. They're often very sneaky and like to slip in those toes. My back leg is opening, it's adducting, lifting up and away. Foot can be flexed, pointed or flointed. And my chest is opening to the side, like triangle pose. And making use of the wall. I can have my hip against the wall and then feel how the pose should feel with the wall, which is really nice to feel how much to open the chest. And it gives you a chance just to feel where your hand should be without struggling in the balance. So again, a lovely use of the wall for these more complex arm balances. Before we go, did it make sense where you're putting your hand? Annalise, before we go into it, you have a question.
Just explain quickly again, when you go from your Trikonasana, just explain quickly how you said, like, do you move forward?
Good. Let me go through it again because it's always the setup that helps you get into the pose. Not being in the pose itself, it's how you get there. I'm going to show you again. Okay. I'll do it without the block this time. So I'm in my triangle pose. Okay. You can also put this hand into your hip just to remind you to keep your chest open, which is useful. I bend my front knee. Okay. I'm going to take my hand forwards, but it might not get there in one step. I may have to hop that back foot in a little bit, which is fine. Now don't forget about your chest. Keep it open. And then once I've got my hand in place, then I can lift that leg up and open it out. If my hand is too close, you will fall over. Okay, so from your triangle, bend the knee. Slide your hand forwards and slightly back. Then I hop in. I may need to do a little hop. You might be able to just step in with one step, okay? But most of the time we need a little step in, place, get everything in order, and then lift up. And twist, chest open. Okay? And Elise, did that make more sense? Could you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions before you guys want to go for it? It's quite a pose. Okay, hand being the helpful little tip there. Okay, off you go. Let's come into triangle pose with natural hips. If you've got a block, it's quite fun, very helpful. Okay, just be in your triangle for a moment. Okay, lean your shoulders back and twist your chest open. That's how your chest needs to feel in half moon pose. Okay, now bend your front leg, slide your hand forwards. Now before you go anywhere, take that hand slightly behind you. So it's not in line with your toe, it's behind the foot. Okay, but now bring it forwards. Now, as you step in, you'll need to slide your hand forwards again. So it's kind of a two-part move. Then your hand goes forwards again. Yes. Your hand is underneath your shoulder, but slightly behind you. Bottom arm is straight. Now, you can stand a bit of weight on that hand. It's going to help your balance. And now slowly twist your chest open. Lift the back leg up. The bottom knee can be a bit bent. If it's hamstring stuff, it's perfectly fine. Yes. Can you feel if your bottom hand has come forwards enough? So Annalise, you could bring that block a little bit more forwards. Yes, Clara. Nice, Miriam. Yes, Shinad. Yes. Good. That's it, Amy. Nice, Michaela. Cindy, you can bring your bottom hand forwards a little bit more. Hi, Alice's friend. Dee, you can bring your hand a little bit more forwards and bring your block onto its highest height. Yes. That's it, Ari. Nice pose. Nice, Ruan. Yes. Excellent, Ruan. That looks awesome. Nice, Lara. Can you feel like you're all balancing there? Because your hand is in the right place. Promise. Nice pose, Michaela. Amy, bring that hand forwards again. So your hand has to move forwards pretty much twice as you get into the pose and then once you're in it. Yes, Annalise, can you feel now your hand is in the right place and it all works? It's so weird. It's like, feel it on the other side when you're ready. If you haven't already. Nice, Belinda. That's it, Marley. Bring your bottom hand just a little bit further forwards. Yes, there. Now perfect. Now a little bit there. There it is. And now lean your shoulders back towards the wall behind you, just a little bit. Yes, that's it, Ari. Now lean your shoulders back just a little bit towards the wall behind you, like you feel in triangle. Yes, top arm straight up to the ceiling. Good. And then slowly when you're done, you can come down. Go for it, Nicole. Yes, nice bottom hand placement. Yes, Clara. That bottom hand can hover or ground. I don't mind. Good. Yes, Cindy. But now look at your top hand, Cindy, pointed straight up towards the ceiling. Yes. Nice, Alice. Perfect pose there. That's it, Amy. Now twist your chest open towards the side. Yeah, now where's your top arm gone? Ah, top arm straight up to the ceiling, yes. Okay, I want to mention one more thing about that top arm. So, just as in triangle, if you don't lean back, let me just quickly show you like this. I'm going to give you another chance to do it because I know there's so much going on there. So what tends to happen, if you're in the pose, okay, and your shoulders have swung forwards, first of all, your back leg swings behind you and your shoulders swing forwards. Can you see that? And then what happens is this arm, it feels like you're opening your chest, but you're just actually dropping your arm behind you, okay? So it's about bringing those shoulders, like in triangle, in line with the bottom shin, and then this arm is not dropping back. The movement is coming from the chest to turn to the side and top arm straight to the ceiling. Can you see that? And not forwards, and like that. So watch yourself with that. Give it one more go if you like. And that's that sensation against the wall is very helpful to feel that chest placement. Yeah, so Ari, now feel, yes, your shoulders are back. What a difference, Ari. Awesome. Amy as well, can you feel the difference? Yes, you've got it. There we go. That's it, Alice. Nice adjustment with your hand to feel the rib there. I love that. Beautiful. Okay, keep playing.
Do you bring the shoulder, you bring it in line with the?
Yeah. With your top shoulder or your bottom shoulder?
The top shoulder.
Yeah. So your top shoulder, you're going to twist open so your chest is facing the side, like triangle pose.
Okay.
Like exactly like triangle pose, your top shoulder is opening up towards the ceiling. So you're almost in that side line. Annalise, feel it against the wall. I know you've got some goodies there. Do it on this leg, your right leg, and then you can be under your things that are hanging.
Come, doggy.
Oh, shame.
Okay, so
Yes, so facing that way, exactly. Now come into the pose like that, okay? And now that top shoulder, put it against the wall.
okay.
Yes, not just the arm, but the shoulder. That's how far you're going to be a little bit closer. That's what you want to feel, that top shoulder against the wall. Can you feel that? Yes,
Yeah.
and now look at that gorgeous pose you got into. So this is why the wall is so helpful. Nice, Clara. Nice, Ruan. Awesome poses there. Yes, Miriam. Stunning. Okay. Yes, Dee. Much better with that block. Nice, Belinda. You've got those long legs, so the floor is far for that bottom hand. You're doing very well. Yes, Dee. Now lift that back leg up and open through the chest. Yes. Well done. Okay. So can you see the techniques we had in our triangle pose about the chest, the shoulders, and the arms are now required here in half moon pose. Now you're balancing on one leg. So it's important to get those components in your basic standing poses we did yesterday, because they link to bigger poses always. Yoga is very progressive that way. Yes, nice, Ruan. So you can see Ruan got his bottom leg a little bit bent, which is perfect. It's perfect because everything else is perfectly in place. Really nice pose. Bottom leg, it just depends on your hamstrings. If your hamstrings aren't ready to be perfectly straight, it really doesn't matter because he's still stretching like crazy in that, I'm sure. Marley, you have a question.
Yes, I'm finding it quite challenging for my hips, especially my left one. So it's quite sore. But I see there's no note really in the manual about modifications for hips. It's mostly for knee and shoulder and hamstring.
So, Marley, you don't have existing hip stuff that I'm aware of. Oh yes, knee, hip, and so it's the leg that you're standing on, and you're feeling it in that hip joint. Yeah, I used to feel that quite a bit as well, so I can sympathize. What you want to be aware of is your weight in your foot, to not have too much weight forwards onto your toes of your bottom foot. Weight back a little bit into the heel sometimes can just take a little bit pressure off that hip. Okay. And then also bending the leg that you're standing on is also might just take it a little bit out of the hip joint and put it a little bit more into your leg. Okay. As always, the stronger you get, the better it is for past injuries and niggles and things like that. But along the way, please don't force it. I think it'll get better as you get stronger. Do you mind trying those options and finding what works best for you? Yeah. So we know. Okay, you don't have to worry about it now, but in the week, give them a go, and then please let me know that you found something that works. And if you haven't, we'll chat more on WhatsApp and we'll figure out what we can do to make you feel more comfortable there.
Okay, cool. Because I don't want to push it and then I hurt myself and then I can't do anything else.
No, definitely don't push anything. Just take it easy now. If your hip has gone, that's enough, then listen. And then we'll check back in and we've got options. We'll explore. Okay. So chat to me in the week. Okay, Clara, you got your hand up.
I just have a question about how you would cue the breathing, because I really feel a difference whether I'm breathing in or out or holding when I'm transitioning.
Yeah. So I always find like exhale is very grounding. So like as you're moving into the pose, if you want to bring in a breath and then inhale to expand and open. Is that what you feel as well? So exhale as you're moving into the pose and then inhale to open up into the pose. And then probably a couple of breaths there as well. Okay. And that's kind of like a general rule. Just in a sun salutation, you inhale to rise and you exhale to lower and ground. So you can kind of take that as a general rule with poses. Inhale to prepare, exhale, come down into the pose. Inhale to open in the pose or to come out of the pose. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower, generally. Okay. Michaela?
I just wanted to say thank you. That was the first time I've ever balanced in Half Moon because of how you told me to put the hand, and when you said to think about triangle, like the opening up and making the line. Yeah, that was the first time. So thank you.
You make me so happy.
Thank you.
Well done, Michaela. And then Elaine?
I was just curious. I found it more helpful if I put the block higher. Is that okay?
100%. I think if you're going to use the block in this pose, definitely have it as its highest height. So that's what I said to Dee as well. She had it lower. Take the block high. It feels fantastic. Even for me, it feels way better with a block, in all honesty, because then my shoulders are not dropped, the shoulders are in line with the hips, and it just gets everything perfect. So this is one of those poses is actually just awesome, awesome, awesome with a block at its highest. I agree. Okie dokie. And it kind of depends, like in the studio, if you have access to props, if you're going to use them. Otherwise, you would just keep the bottom leg a little bit more bent and people would have their hand on the floor. You could also make this pose harder and have your bottom hand hovering off the floor. Of course, it's going to make the balance part of it so much more challenging. But if that's what the reason behind you teaching the pose, then you can do it in all sorts of ways. I've even taught it with the arms up overhead like this. So your hands aren't even open, they're over, and it's been really, really mean because I was teaching something where I wanted that kind of feeling in the pose. So you can play with it, and that's the beauty about vinyasa and about this peak pose sequence. You can customize everything to suit what you want it to be. Well done, guys. Okay, so those will need practice. You can see there's a lot going on. And the last one that we're going to do in the balancing section today is your dancer's pose. And I think it's one back if I'm not mistaken. Yes, half dancer's pose on page 62. Full dancer's pose is when you have both your hands above your head and you're holding your foot, which is quite a fierce pose, which we will chat about when we do big back bends, but it's an advanced pose. So this is actually a modified version of full dancers, Natarajasana, and it's half dancer's pose, where we've got one hand behind and we're holding the foot, and your other arm is up in line with your ear. So important to remember about this pose because we get so focused on the leaning forwards, and that's really not what it's about. Make this pose all about your back leg. It's about kicking your back thigh up to create that bow-like shape with your back leg, okay? And you may be more upright and you may add on the extra lean, but most importantly, make it about your back leg. The hand placement here can be a little bit confusing. So I'm going to show you, yes, it needs to turn out. So if you just have your arm like Tadasana, okay, like mountain pose, and then you're going to just take your hand behind you. That's all. Don't overcomplicate it. Because I see weird stuff. Often I say thumb up towards the ceiling, okay, which seems like makes complete sense, but I've also seen the shoulder roll in and then they turn their thumb up to the ceiling that way. So we don't want that, okay? It's about having your arm externally rotated with your palm facing out and thumb pointing up. And if you just think like Tadasana, and take your hand behind you, that is how you're going to hold your foot back there. And you'll feel when you get into it, you want to do weird stuff with that hand, but that is how it's going to be. Okay. So I will show you and then you can give it a go. All right. So dancer's pose. From Tadasana, I just take my hand back. My arm is externally rotated. I'm going to stand one weight onto my right foot, and then I'm going to hold the inside arch of my left foot. Okay? So my hand has gone back, and then I'm holding the inside of the foot. And I'm not doing weird stuff with my shoulder. That is the important thing to get here, it makes it work, okay? It's also one of those make or break things because your arm can lift up like this, but it can't if you're holding in a weird rotation, okay? So once we've got that, I'm going to reach the right arm up and I'm going to kick my foot up, okay? I'm going to make it all about my back leg. It's not about leaning forwards because this is what I see a lot, okay? The lean forwards is not the important part. The most important part is the kick up of the back foot, okay? And once I can stay here, just with my foot kicked up and my chest upright, or then, if you like, you can add on the lean. But more importantly, to kick your foot into your hand and then kick your toes up towards the ceiling. All right. I want to say something else. Okay, I did a blank at the moment. Oh, the hips. So, when we did Warrior 3 and we had our hips parallel, could your leg lift very high? No. If you allow your hips to open, your leg goes higher, right? So, if you think about three-legged dog, if my hips are parallel, my leg only lifts that high. If I allow my hips to open, my leg can go way up. So in dancer's pose, you may have heard the cue, square your hips. I'm going to say allow your hips to open a little bit because it's going to take your leg higher up at the back. Allowing your hips to open increases the ability to lift your back leg at the back. And you'll see that when you do standing splits as well. If I do standing splits with my hips parallel, I can only lift my leg this high. If I allow my hips to open, my leg goes way higher. So again, depends what you want in the pose. In dancer's pose, you want your back leg up. So allow your hips to open. Okay, it will happen naturally. Want to give it a go? Are you ready? Let's go. So standing with feet in Tadasana. First, let's just get those Tadasana arms. Okay, palms are facing forwards. Extend your left hand back behind you and take hold of the inner arch of your left foot. You've got it, Ari. Don't twist your arm or do anything weird. I promise, it happens a lot. Reach your right hand up to the ceiling. Okay, it's not about going forwards now. Don't even think about going forwards yet. Kick your foot into your hand and lift your thigh as high as possible up at the back. Lift your knee, lift your knee, lift your knee. Press your thigh up, thigh up, thigh up. You can just stay here and you all look gorgeous. If you want more, then you can lean forwards. But don't forget, it's more about kicking your thigh up at the back. Thigh up, thigh up, thigh up, thigh up. Yes, allow your hips to open. Can you see how much higher your leg goes? Yes, nice, Cindy. Yes. And then getting out of the pose, which I didn't talk to you about, is often very hard. So what you want to think about coming up is squeeze your thighs together and pull back into yourself. So you come back in with strength and release Tadasana. That's it. Nice, Amy. Okay, feel that on the other side when you're ready. From Tadasana, palms facing forwards, take your right hand behind you. Hold the inner arch of your right foot. Beautiful. Left arm reaches up in line with the ear. Now, it's not about going forwards. Doesn't matter. Don't go forwards, Marley. Just lift your toes at the back. Kick your foot into your hand. Yes, Marley, you got it. That's what we want. And then lift your thigh up. Don't even think about going forwards. Just about kicking up. Nice, Annalise. Nice pose there. Nice, Clara. Awesome, Mary. Then once your foot cannot kick up anymore, then maybe you lean a little bit forwards. Maybe you lean a lot forwards if your hamstrings don't mind that too much. Nice, Nicole. Gorgeous. Nice, Sheena. Yes. Nice poses, everyone. Wow, Alice. Oh, beautiful. And now to come out of the pose, because it's hard, squeeze your thighs together. To come back in with strength and release. Whew, well done. Okay, can you see what I mean about making it about your back leg? Yes, Ruan, make it about the back leg. Don't even worry about leaning forwards. So that's perfect where you are now, Ruan, is gorgeous. You don't need to lean more forwards. That thigh is lifting at the back. You've got a beautiful back bend. And if you lean forwards, we don't want the chest to then drop because then we've lost that lift. Yes, Ari, as you are there, quite upright, looks fantastic. That thigh is lifted. Perfect. Yes, that's Elaine. Don't overdo it in the back. This is quite a back bend. Listen to your body. Yes, Cindy. Beautiful lift of that back thigh. Stunning. Can you see? It's all about being upright and lifted. And we tend to get very focused on the leaning forwards part, and that sometimes loses the pose. Nice, Belinda. Yes, that's it, Dee. Just being upright with a lift in your chest and kicking that thigh up at the back is what's important. Okay. Shake it out and release when you're ready. Yes, Elaine, that's beautiful. Yay, Clara, beautiful lift of that back leg. So in this pose, your mantra is make it about your back thigh lifting. Okay, make it about the back leg and lifting your chest. It is a back bend after all. And it's not important to go forwards. Like you're seeing Ruan do it there, it looks fantastic upright. I actually prefer it. Very nice. And the full dancer's pose, believe it or not, you don't lean forwards at all. You actually are reaching backwards to hold your foot back there. There's no lean forwards whatsoever. Maybe you gymnastic dancey girls have attempted it before. We will play with towards later in the course. But so yeah. Leaning forwards actually makes it different. Anyway, we won't get stuck on it. All right, everyone. Any questions with your dancer's pose? Alice.
I feel it a lot as well in my shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, like the back leg, the thigh. So I don't know if I'm not using enough of my thigh. I don't know, or maybe that's just normal.
You're going to feel it in your shoulder big time. So what do we call this action when our arm goes behind us like this? Shoulder.
Oh, abduction?
Extension. So if our arm goes up, it's flexion. And when it goes behind us, extension. So you're going to be feeling quite a strong stretch into your pecs and down through your arm like this, because that arm is really going back in extension and then up. So it is a big stretch. If you feel like you're overworking your arm, the more you squeeze your bum, Alice, contract your glutes to lift that thigh up, the more muscle you can engage to help you lift that leg, but you will still have this quite a strong stretch in your shoulder. And beautiful pose. Belinda?
I actually just want to say a big thank you. I feel like you, over the last 2 and a bit of days, like you guys have totally blown my mind. And I think just like debunking a lot of things, like these myths that everything needs to be like aligned. And it's I've never done poses as easily or as comfortably as I've done this morning. So thank you so much. It's just been really awesome.
It's about moving naturally as well, hey? Oh, yeah, I'm so happy, Belinda. You guys are making me so happy this morning. Exactly what it's about. Feeling what works for your body naturally within these poses. Elaine?
Yeah, just because I felt like I sort of over compressed like my lower spine there. What would be like a counter pose?
Yeah. So, I mean, when we do these poses, you are compressing your lower back, right? Back bends, we compress the spine, which actually can be quite a healthy thing as well. It's actually quite good for our spines to actually build them up. But afterwards, it can feel like, oh, it's quite a lot. So first of all, as a general rule, after back bending, first neutral. So you just want to stand upright and give the body a moment to just be neutral. Then secondly, what really helps is a gentle twist from side to side. And you'll feel that actually will give you the relief for your spinal muscles. Okay. And then after that, a baby forward fold. So like don't forward fold and try and put your head on your shins, but like a little bit of a rounding. And that is kind of your counter pose formula. The same would be if you did a really big forward bend. You would first be neutral, little twist is quite nice, and then a baby back bend. And that's kind of how we slowly work back towards counter posing. Okay. But yeah, I always say with back bends, we're quite fearful of feeling our backs because we often associate back sensation with a bad thing, okay? And it's normal because often we've had lower back pain. The more you strengthen your back, the less injury you're going to have. We need to have strong backs. It's really, really important. Everyone's very focused on strong core. I think it's more important to have a strong back. It's like directly going to affect your back. So it can be scary when we feel sensation in our back. So good to just slowly, also with your nervous system, we've been chatting about that today, is recondition your nervous system to not freak out as soon as we feel back. It's okay, we're working those muscles and then gently release it and unwind. But it is okay to feel your back as well a little bit. But of course, if you had a history of back stuff, don't overdo it either. About finding that balance. Okay, Ruan.
Hi. So I just wanted to share a few cues that I learned from going to like Bikram classes and things like that, because they obviously do dancer there as well.
Yes.
So the hand position is more kind of like, if I can show it, they kind of do like a little cup thing like this. And then instead of the arch, it's like right there, like where your foot is, like right here.
Yes, more around your kind of your ankle part of the foot.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when you're actually in the pose, there's this constant tension of pushing against your hand, which is actually lifting you up and opening up your shoulder.
Awesome.
So, just thought I would share that.
Lovely cues, Ron. Awesome. I agree. I actually really like, there's parts of Bikram I'm not wild about, but I really like the instructions for getting into dances. The instructions around lock the knee, not so wild about, and drop the head back, look back, not so wild about, but there are a lot of good cues in that as well, especially when it comes to dances. So I agree. Thanks, Ron. All right. Is that everyone's questions? Guys, let's take a little bit of a short break now. Those are your balances. Can we meet back at 12 o'clock just to keep you fresh and just shake it out a little bit? Have some water, freshen up. I want to do some sun salutations and twists after this. See you in 15 minutes. See you at 12. There's 3 different ways of doing sun salutations and progressively building the strength in chaturanga, basically, because that'll be the most challenging part for our beginners. Sometimes plank is hard just in itself, and it is, because we need to build up our wrists and our arms, and then slowly build that strength in our sun salutations. So you've seen in the classes, we've kind of done a modified sun salutation where we go from plank and just push back into downward facing dog. So we're just building that strength in plank and that nice transition from plank into downward dog, pushing to build that strength in the arms first of all. Okay, we will go back and break down every one of these poses along the way. So I'm going to do plank again, downward dog again, chaturanga again, all of that again, but we're just going to see how we can flow these poses. So during the week when you're practicing, and maybe you can start moving towards very slow chaturangas to build up your arm strength. Okay. So firstly, I'm going to show you our basic sun salutation. And then we'll do like a medium one and then a full sun salutation. So you know you've got options. Okay. So, starting in Tadasana, we inhale arms up for high mountain. And we exhale, forward fold. Okay, in your forward folds, it's quite nice to bring your hands back in line with your feet. That may mean you need to bend your knees. It's quite a good habit because when you step forwards and back, your feet are always between your hands. So in forward fold, Uttanasana, quite nice to have hands in line with feet. We inhale to a halfway lift. We bring hands to shins to assist lengthening your spine here. Out, scrunching the neck. Neck in line with spine is the golden rule. And then you ground the hands and we step ourselves back into plank. If you like, you can always alternate right foot and then left foot stepping back. If you want to control that, that's also quite nice. Okay. And then we hold in our plank position with shoulders stacked over wrists, quads nice and engaged, and a slow push as we move into downward facing dog. Okay, and then you can hold in your downward dog. And just briefly touching on downward dog here, we'll talk about it again. If you find that your back is rounded in downward dog, bending the knees, pushing with the hands, and lifting the tailbone up is what's going to help lengthen the spine in downward dog. So this is a great modified way of doing down dog. Okay, and then from here, very basically, of course you can step forwards, but for our beginners, stepping forwards can be tough. So just walking forwards is a great modification. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, knees can be bent, and then rising back up to standing and back to Tadasana. Okay. Let's give that a go. Basic sun salutation. At the top of your mat, Tadasana. Feet together or slightly apart. Palms forwards. Inhale, arms up for high mountain. Really reach up with those arms. And now give me a slow forward fold. So we loading your hamstrings as we come down. Knees can be slightly bent or straight. Hands in line with feet. It's a little bit of a control issue thing. I'm a bit pedantic. Good. Relax your head fully. Hands to shins for a halfway lift. Press your chest forwards and lengthen the spine. Draw your shoulders away from your ears here. There you are. Ground your hands and step back into plank. You could always say step your right foot, and on the next one, step your left foot. That's up to you. Hold in your plank with your shoulders stacked over your wrists, fingers spread wide, and your thighs, your quads, nice and active, pushing away from the floor. Now in slow motion, okay, and make this harder than it needs to be. Push into your hands as if you're pushing over a wall. Make your arms really work as you push back into downward facing dog. And that's a really nice way to just start getting those arms going. So everybody, bend your knees, okay? Lift your bum up higher towards the ceiling. Stick your bum out into the air. That's where you want your hips to be in downward dog. Okay, you can keep your knees a little bit bent there. So Ari, we've been chatting about that. That works nicely for you to get your hips up higher, okay? Otherwise, if you feel like you can keep your hips up that high and straighten your legs, then maybe you straighten your knees. Both is perfectly fine. Good. And then super gentle, walk your feet forwards to the top of the mat. This is a nice way just to get forwards and back without having to step. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Good, press your chest forwards a little bit more there, Cindy. See if you can lengthen your spine a bit more. There we are, shoulders down. Don't scrunch your neck there, Michaela. Lengthen the back of your neck. There you are, forward fold, head down. Hands in line with feet. And then inhale, rise back up to standing. High mountain. And relax arms down to your sides. Good. All right, any questions on that? Have a seat. So we've been doing our sun salutations in this format. Can you see with this, we're just building up basic strength holding plank. We're teaching downward dog and just getting those kind of basic flows going. Go for it, Michaela.
The halfway lift, I've never done it on my shins.
Yeah.
I've always done it on lift to my fingertips and then go back down. Does it matter, or like, is the reason you're putting it on the shins to get more of like a lift?
Exactly. So for our beginners, they often have tighter hamstrings. If hands are on the floor, they're not going to actually be able to get that lift in the chest and the lengthening of the spine. So by coming higher up, as a general rule in all poses, the higher you come up, the more you can lengthen your spine, is a nice way to do the halfway lift so they can actually get that lift. But like for you, your hamstrings are super long, so you can halfway lift with your fingers on the floor and get your back straight. So for you to halfway lift like that is perfect.
Okay.
But moving forwards, as a teacher, demonstrating for beginners, which is more likely who you're going to be teaching in the beginning, then you want to demonstrate it with hands on your shins so they can see what you mean by lifting your chest and be able to access that.
Okay, thank you.
So both are fine. It normally just depends on always hamstrings.
Okay,
Alice?
I had a question about basically when we're coming up to stand. So I typically go arms out.
Yes.
And then even going down, I go down. And I think you do forward. So I just didn't know if
don't hit the wall. Both is fine. I like as well. Both is completely fine. So whatever kind of feels good in your shoulders. Sometimes if I want to make them work harder, I make them lower like this, so there's more load on the way down on the hamstrings. But then I also love the swan dive. Sometimes we hear in yoga classes out to the sides. Both is totally fine. It's your preference as a teacher what you would like to teach. Unless you're doing it for a specific reason, you may choose one or the other. This actually often feels easier on the shoulders along the sides. With this, sometimes can feel a little bit harder in the shoulder joint. So I kind of leave it flexible. Okay, any other questions with that basic sun salutation? Can you see the modified downward dog with the knees a bit bent? You're going to use this quite a lot as teachers and even in your own body as well to get the hips up in downward dog. So in downward dog, we're looking for that kind of triangle shape, okay? And if the hamstrings are a bit tighter, the back tends to be more rounded. So if we bend the knees a little bit, we can get this side of that triangle straighter, okay? Ari, is that modification making sense for you? And does it feel good? You still feel your hamstring stretching, so it's just about getting your back straighter. You feel the stretch all the same, okay? Clara.
I think for taking your arms up, if you're a bit heavier on top, then sometimes there's not space. So that's why I think prefer to go the other way. I just thought that maybe I don't know, maybe not everyone is feeling that, but that's
it's good to share our different experiences so we can all learn from each other. I agree. Up the side normally feels awesome. I normally do that. I said I'm squished against a wall and I'll hit it. So both is fine, but yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Clara. Nicole, do you want to say something? Hi.
No, sorry, I just want to ask for high plank. Where does your buttocks need to be? Like, is it in straight
Good
line or?
question, because high plank is different to normal plank. Okay. So the difference is how much you're rounding in the spine. So let me show you to clarify, because that'll be the easiest. So remember, I was showing you from cat-cow getting into plank. So this is your kind of neutral plank position, and your shoulder blades are just in a normal position. And it kind of sets you up a little bit more for chaturanga, because chaturanga, you're lowering down and your shoulder blades are coming together. So a great way to kind of know where your hips should be is to come from all fours, step one foot back, my shoulders stay exactly the same in neutral, step the other foot back, and my pelvis is almost pretty much in line with my hips.
Okay.
From all fours. Okay, then high plank is rounded. So then my shoulders are round, my back is round, and my tailbone is more tucked. And that is cool, especially if you're teaching like today for crow pose. Then high plank is actually really nice because it's getting you to round more and use your abdominals. But we want to teach the neutral plank when heading down towards chaturanga, because then from neutral, my shoulder blades are going to squeeze together, and that kind of actually builds you in a different way, and that will help you prep for chaturanga. So both is fine, just depends on what you're doing. Did that answer your question about the hips?
Yeah, no, thanks for clarifying, because I'm just never sure where to be in plank. Always, especially with
all fours, so you can kind of feel, and it kind of also depends, because if you have really long arms, you might be more diagonally sloped. For me, I'm quite like shoulders and hips in one straight line. So if you come from all fours, that's quite a nice way just to kind of feel where your hips are.
Okay, thanks so much.
Cool. And then we can also check in with that as well. I'll have a look at you at the last time and check that you're good. Okay. So that was our basic sun salutation. Are we all good with that? Okay, now we're going to introduce chaturanga. Okay, chaturanga is an arm balance in itself. It's a hard pose. Okay, we are doing a slow lower from plank to chaturanga, and it's going to work your tricep muscles. Okay, and your pecs. So we're going to start learning chaturanga with the knees on the floor, which sometimes is harder, especially if you've learned chaturanga from plank. Sometimes find kneeling harder. Anyway, it doesn't matter because you're going to be building the strength. So I'm going to call this kind of like an intermediate sun salutation. This is the one you'll need to demonstrate in your assessment so that you can teach it to your beginners. So I'm going to inhale, arms up, all the same. Exhale, forward fold. And then like Michaela said, you can also halfway lift here with fingertips on the ground if your hamstrings are long and you can get your back straight. Otherwise, halfway lift here. Both is good. Okay. And then you can now step or jump back into plank. I'm going to hold my plank and lower my knees to the ground. So now I'm coming to a kneeling plank position. Can you see my shoulders, hips, and knees are in a diagonal line? And it will feel like you're in plank. It's still quite feisty. What we don't want is the bum sticking out in the air and doing chaturanga like this, okay? Because that isn't building the strength you need in order to do full chaturanga. The cue you hear in class is the, what is it called? Chin, chest, hips. It's one of my pet peeves, because it almost robs you out of building that chaturanga strength. Fine if you're doing it for a reason, but the rest of the time, we want to feel that you are going forwards. Okay, so again, your mantra for this is to go forwards. So from my plank, I've lowered my knees. I'm going to look forwards and think of leaning forwards. And I'm going to say 10-second lower. You're going to squeeze your elbows towards your sides and go forwards. Forwards, 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 all the way down. Okay, look what happens if I don't go forwards. If I just stay from here and think of going straight down, the bum tends to stick up. Okay, so we don't want the bum sticking up. You're going to feel like you're going to go forwards, and it's really hard, okay? But that is how you're going to do chaturanga. So we'll give that a go. And it's a bit squishy for me on my tummy, but you're going to go into a little baby cobra, softly release, and then do a negative chaturanga to push back to hands and knees. Okay? So a little baby cobra, release, negative chaturanga to push up with strength, because now we're building those tricep muscles in both ways. Tap toes, downward facing dog. Okay, now you can introduce the step. So to step forwards, the helpful tip is to move the hand out the way. Okay, makes stepping forwards a lot easier. But for your beginners, another way you can say is come to kneeling, step your foot forward, and then step the other foot in. Okay, because certain body types may really struggle with that step forwards. Okay, it's one of the hardest things to do. Okay, not the hardest thing, because chaturanga is one of the hardest things to do is to step forwards. And we underestimate how tricky that can be. If you've got tighter hamstrings or bigger boobs or just your proportions, things get in the way, okay? Stepping forwards is tough. So moving the hand out the way, very helpful. So you can almost do like a roundhouse kick into it. Or coming to kneeling. You'll see this when you start teaching. Kneel, step forwards, then put your hands on the floor, then come to standing, okay? Let's see if I can tie that all in for you guys. The main focus here is that kneeling chaturanga. Are you ready? Let's go. At the top of your mat. Feet together. Or slightly apart. Find your Tadasana. Inhale, arms up, high mountain. Exhale, slow forward fold. Arms out to the sides or in front, whatever works for you. Head is down, fully relax your neck. Good. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Or keep fingertips on the ground if your hamstrings are long and that feels good for you. I don't mind that if that's fine for you, but when teaching, hands to shins make it easier. Okay, hands to the ground. You can step back into plank or jump if you're feeling like you'd like to do that. Hold in your plank, so shoulders stacked over wrists. Nicole, that looks great. You could drop your bum maybe down a teeny weeny bit. There, perfect. Now your hips are in the right place. Now from plank, just lower your knees straight down onto the floor. Pause there. Look forwards. Lean a little bit forwards onto your wrist. Pause here. Knees are on the floor in plank. So Amy, put your knees down. There you are. Okay, now you're in a kneeling plank. Don't drop your bum there, Elaine. Lift your bum up higher and tuck your bum. So you feel like you're in plank. Engage your core. Yes. Cindy, you're in a back bend. So don't stick your bum out, Cindy. Tuck your bum. Now look forwards, and now just think of bending your elbows and moving forwards. Don't stick your bum out. Go forwards. Go forwards. Go forwards. Go forwards. Yes, your hips and your chest should come down as one. If your chest hit the floor before your bum, hey Cindy, then you stuck your bum out and you need to drop your bum down. Push back up. Let's try that again. From plank. So come from plank just so we can get all the positioning right. Okay. Lower your knees to the floor. That's better with the hips, Elaine. Good. Now, Cindy, don't. That's better, Cindy. Good. Better with your bum. And now look forwards. Go forwards as you lower chaturanga. Your elbows are squeezing towards your sides. You're moving forwards, 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 forwards. More forwards, Rowan. More forwards. Yes. Now can you feel your hips are coming down with your chest at the same time? It's hard, hey? One more time, just for fun. So mean. If you have niggly shoulders, please listen to your body. You need to build strength slowly. If you have shoulder issues, maybe back off now and don't let me bully you. Let's go from plank. Lower your knees to the mat. Don't stick your bum out. Tuck your bum down, Cindy. Cindy, look at your camera. Can you see yourself? Lift your bum up high and now tuck your bum down to your feet. Better, but you're still you're still in a little low back bend. Can you see that? I know it's so hard. It's tricky. There, that's better, Cindy. All right, slowly start to bend your elbows and go forwards, 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 forwards. Can you see the more you go forwards, the more your body lowers as one. Well done, guys. Into baby cobra. Your hands stay where they are. Roll your shoulders back and down. Little baby cobra curl. Here, the main thing is don't scrunch your neck. Keep the back of your neck lengthened. So drop your chin a bit there down, Elaine. Yeah, so your neck's not scrunching. Then feel like you're pulling your hands down towards your ribs without actually moving your hands. You'll feel how that fires up your triceps and gets your shoulders together and down. Slowly release. And now do a negative chaturanga. So lie on your tummy and do a push back into your knees. Or if you're feeling feisty, back into plank, and then tuck toes, downward dog. Good push there, Nicole. Yes. Now, let's try the different step options. Lower your knees to the floor. Kneel upright, so bring your hands off the mat and kneel upright. Step your right foot forwards. Then put your hands on the floor. And then you would step your left foot forward. So that is a go-to if your students cannot step forwards. It happens. Step back to downward dog. So now we'll try the other step forwards. From downward dog, take your right leg up. You can do it through a three-legged dog, which helps with momentum. And move your right hand out of the way as you step forwards. Like literally take your right hand off the mat. Yes. Can you see how that gives you space? Cool. And then step your left foot to meet. And we end with the inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Come up to standing, high mountain, and release, Tadasana, mountain pose. All right, have a seat. Let me know if you have any questions. How did that chaturanga feel? Hands are going up. Alice, you're first.
Okay. Thanks. For Cobra, I wanted to know, so we're lifting up our chest. So I engage my glutes. I don't know if I should be trying to loosen that and then it's more just in the chest area.
It's fine for your glutes to be lightly engaged, but the emphasis here is to be using your upper back muscles. So kind of your mid and lower trapezius muscles, bringing your shoulder blades down and together and lifting your chest. Don't make it too much about the bum, make it more about the back. Alice, a lovely cue I like to use, which I just kind of threw at you guys there. Your hands aren't actually moving, but think of pulling your hands down like this on your sticky mat, and you'll feel how that gives you the perfect engagement into your upper back muscles and where you want to be feeling it. Fine for your bum to be engaged, but don't make it the main focus of the pose. Okay, more about actually using those back muscles. So you want to feel it in your upper back. Okay, that answers your question. Cool. Ruan?
I've seen a variation. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but basically when you're here, what some people do is they move forward first, and then put knees down, and then do that, which is a little bit easier for me.
Go for it, Rowan. So for your proportion, that totally works to lean forwards from the plank already, then bring your knees down, then go. Totally cool. Yeah. And also, you guys are a bit stronger, and the men are a bit stronger in the shoulders. For the ladies, being a little bit further back may be more accessible initially. Both is totally fine. And I really like that because the way you move forwards in your plank there is how you're going to move forwards in chaturanga. So to set that up from there is also totally cool.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sorry, Laura, sorry to interrupt. I've also seen that variation a lot where you basically tip forward. And then I started watching Jenny's videos on YouTube. She's actually got a whole video of staying where you are, moving forward, moving back, and the different way it's going to work and strengthen different muscles.
Exactly.
So it's cool, yeah.
Both is cool. It's going to strengthen different muscles along the way, whatever feels good for you. I think both are fantastic.
Yeah.
And we'll try to find that little video to share when we break down chaturanga in more detail. I'm trying to skim the surface here, but it's such an important thing because we do these so often, right? All right. And then Marley, you had your hand up. Are you good now?
Yes, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Amy.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, with the sun salutations and the moon ones, are they like quite strict on the flow and like it's like first Tadasana, then you go down to this and this? Or is it can vary from yoga instructor to yoga instructor?
It can vary. So often it varies between teachers. Some teachers teach things slightly differently. This is pretty much the set format. I'm getting the last one is kind of the set format, which we have from Ashtanga. But for us, because we're teaching Vinyasa Yoga, you can teach it however you want to. So you can see sometimes we add on a little side bend, sometimes we add on a little twist in Tadasana. You can also customize these sun salutations to fit in with whatever theme you have for your class. This is kind of the basic structure that we all use, but feel free to change it up.
But there are like certain movements that should always be part of like sun or a moon. Like, is that also?
I mean, if you want to keep to the set sequence, these are the set poses: Tadasana, half lift, Uttanasana, plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog are the set poses. But if you feel like for beginners you're going to take out chaturanga, that's also fine. If you want to add in side plank from plank, that's totally cool. So you can keep it traditional or you can change it up. Both is fine. It's fun to remove some poses and add other ones in. That's what's fun about Vinyasa. You can do what you want. In other styles where there's set sequences, like Ashtanga Yoga and like Bikram, it's a set sequence of poses every single time. They never change. So certain styles will stick to certain things, where here we have the freedom to be creative and choreograph it however you want. But most of the time we kind of stick to this formula. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? Are we good? Okay, so that's pretty much what you'll have to do for your assessment is that kneeling chaturanga, baby cobra, reverse chaturanga, back into downward dog, okay? Because that's what you're going to be teaching to your beginners to build up their strength. And then lastly, just for fun, we'll do like a classic Ashtanga sun salutation where it's a very set, full chaturanga, full upward dog, and transitioning straight back into downward facing dog. We don't teach this straight away to our beginners because it's actually really hard. And you need to teach them how to do chaturanga. Okay, I'm not going to jump, but of course you would jump back into plank or chaturanga. Okie dokie. Very fun. For those with shoulder issues, maybe full chaturanga, maybe not today. Build that strength, yeah? Okay, so we got inhale, arms up, Hastasa. Sometimes we add on a little back bend, which feels quite nice. And forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. From here, if you're doing full, hands can be on the ground, but of course, whatever works for you. Normally, you jump back. I'm going to step into plank. Sometimes you can jump straight into chaturanga. And if we're chaturanga, as you saw Rohan demonstrate beautifully, onto the tops of the toes, chaturanga hovers off the floor, you don't touch the mat. You sweep forwards onto the tops of your feet for upward dog, and then you roll straight over the toes back into downward dog. You would jump forwards to the top of the mat, halfway lift, forward fold, and rise to standing. And release. Okay, we will break down full chaturanga and upward facing dog when we get to those poses. If you'd like to go for it, your choice. Basic, intermediate, or full version of a sun salutation, just for fun. We'll break it down in more detail soon, I promise. Okay. When you're ready, stand in Tadasana at the top of your mat. Inhale, arms up, high mountain. Forward fold, all the way down, Uttanasana. Relax your neck. Inhale, halfway lift, version of your choice. Hands to the mat, step or jump, plank. Look forwards, lean forwards, either kneeling or full chaturanga. 10-second lower though, please. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Go forwards. 4, 3. We're already down. 2, 1. Try and hover if you're in full chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog or cobra, whichever is best for your body today. And then pull up back into either reverse chaturanga or straight back into downward dog. Good. I will talk about the flipping of your toes in upward dog from chaturanga when we do those poses. Don't you worry. I've got a lot to say. Step or jump to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold, head down. Coming up to standing, high mountain, Urdhva Hastasana, maybe with a little back bend on top if that feels good. And then relax arms down to your sides. Well done, guys. Awesome. I know some of you love a good vinyasa like that. And especially if you've been working really hard in your yoga practice to get that. I know you just love to do it as many times as you can in a class. At least you get your satisfaction. Okay. All right. So mostly the lesson is there. For beginners, we need to build them up for that full transition at the end, okay? Kneeling chaturanga is going to be an awesome way to build your strength. So over the next week, can you try and squeeze in some 10-second lowers into chaturanga? Okay. Video yourself to make sure your bum's not sticking out in the air. Or you can build your strength during these slow chaturangas. You do it in full if you like as well. I don't mind. The better you will feel like you're progressing to strengthen your arms. Okay, which will help your wrists and everything to come. Okay. Nicole.
I just have a bit of a shoulder issue. It's a deltoid.
Okay,
so
yeah, no, not fun for chaturanga there.
I just wanted to know, like, it feels better going down in a shorter space of time, and then maybe more reps of that. Is that better?
Perfect.
And then
Don't worry about too many reps, Nicole. And what you can also do is go down halfway and then push back up.
Okay.
And then halfway and then push back up. So you almost do like little chaturanga push-ups, which is also great. And then Nicole, sorry, the camera just flipped and I lost you. There you are. Sorry. And then if you start to feel your shoulder, back off. Okay, you need to strengthen it slowly over time and don't inflame it.
Right.
Okay, so start off holding long planks maybe and see if you can do a minute plank. See how your shoulder feels after that. Maybe you start there. Then maybe a little kneeling chaturanga push-up. And like, don't do 100, okay? Just like do a few, see how your shoulder feels, and then build it up slowly. And then a slow lower, maybe 5 seconds building up to 10 seconds, and just like really progress slowly with it. And that is for all of you with shoulder niggles.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, who else? Ron, you also have a shoulder niggle. It doesn't look like it. Nicole. Okay, so anyone with shoulder stuff, and then also your shoulders just might be really sore and tired after doing these as well. The ladies often struggle with this, so please build up your shoulders and your arms progressively. Ron?
I sometimes get shoulder niggles, but I know they're not injuries because I do quite a lot of weightlifting, so I know the difference between a joint pain and sore muscles, for instance. So Even though I did a quite severe shoulder workout the other week, I can work through it. And I know that's actually healing it because it's sending blood to the muscles and
Yeah,
it's
getting
actually
stronger is
aiding
the
recovery.
thing to do. Yeah, get strong and you'll find your issues tend to go away, but don't overdo it. Okay, especially in the first week, you'll get stronger. By next weekend, it's going to be different. So just build your strength slowly. Clara.
I have sometimes some wrist issue, carpal tunnel. So I sometimes do it on my knuckles. And I do feel like sometimes if you do it on your knuckles, it's also more difficult to kind of twist your shoulder because you're so set.
Yes. Yes, Clara. Awesome. I think it's fantastic. Working on your fists is amazing. Awesome. Well done. And then just as Clara was kind of saying there, in Chaturanga, you don't want your shoulders, okay, we are going a little bit into this now. You don't want your shoulders rolling forwards like this in Chaturanga. When you lower from plank, feel it. Have your arms out in front of you like you're in plank. And then slowly start bending your elbows. Your elbows might not touch your ribs. That's fine, especially if you're a bit broader in your shoulders. As you lower, you want your collarbones to open and your shoulder blades to draw together. That's what you're looking for in Chaturanga. If this is happening, that's what's going to make your shoulders sore. Okay, so one more time, you're in plank. As you bend your arms, your shoulder blades are squeezing together and your chest is opening. And your shoulders are not dropping forwards. Does that make sense? Okay. And then we'll talk about that in more detail as well. But just seeing as we've gone there now, we'll chat loads more about it. Okay. Is everyone happy with that? Okay, cool. I want to talk about some twists. Okie dokie. So in your manual, if we're missing any poses, don't worry, I'm going to come back to them. I just want to focus on the most important ones that are in your assessment and give you stuff to practice over the next coming weeks. I'm going to start with chair pose in a twist, which is on page 69. Page 69, you'll see Parivrtta Utkatasana, revolved chair pose. Okie dokie. So when it comes to twists, what we want to have in the spine is to not be rounded in the spine or hyperextending, arching in your spine. You're kind of thinking of your spine as a nice straight axis and then you're pivoting around. Okay. So in twists, we're looking for a lengthened spine. And another big thing, which is going to be a little bit of a myth buster, is allowing your hips to twist with you. Okay. So we've often heard in revolved chair pose to keep your knees together, right? And then twist. And I want you to feel the difference between keeping your knees together and allowing one knee to come forward. So just sit with your legs out in front of you. Most of you are sitting on the floor. And with your legs out in front of you, with your legs straight, twist to the right and don't even think about it. Okay. Look at your feet. What happened to your feet? Did one slide forwards or the other? Yeah. Okay. So naturally, your body moves this way. Okay. Because your pelvis is kind of attached to your spine, just a bit. So when your spine turns, your hips move with you. Okay. And if we want to get into really big twists, which we do because we want to try and hook your elbow on your outer thigh, we have to allow the hips to come with. Okay. If for some reason you didn't want your hips to go with you because you maybe only wanted to try and twist in your upper back, then it's also fine to say keep knees together. It depends what you're doing the pose for. Most of the time when we're doing something like this, revolved chair, it's to get us into something like side crow, where you're going to really get yourself all the way around and hook your knee on your outer thigh. So you're trying to get as maximum twist as possible, allow your knees to move with you. Okay. So that'll be your focus in these twists. Okie dokie. So in chair pose, I might not be your best demo. Maybe I'll steal one of you to demonstrate for this one. But I'm going to show you what's going on in your back. So into chair pose, we're going to come from your chair, okay? Normal chair pose, sitting weight back into the heels. You bring hands to center of the chest. Now, when you get into the twist, we all do this. You lean to hook your elbow on your outer thigh, right? That's how you're going to get into it. But then we forget to lean the shoulders back and twist. Okay, so your main emphasis here is once you've got your elbow, you lean forwards to hook your elbow, right? Perfectly fine. Then you need to lean your shoulders back so your head comes back in line with your hips. And that is that straight axis again to help you pivot around. Okay, so let's see, who wants to be a volunteer? Clara, you're first on my list over there. You can come up to standing if you don't mind. Clara's going to start with her feet together. Is Clara spotlighted for you guys? Can you see Clara? Okay, wait, hold on a second. Let me get this right. Okay. Now you can see Clara. Thanks, Clara. She's going to bend her knees and sweep into Utkatasana chair pose. Beautiful. Brings her hands to heart center. She takes a twist to whichever side she likes. She's going to lean forwards to hook her elbow. Get a good hook. Now from here, Clara, I'm going to say lean your head back. Lean your shoulders back. Yes. And now twist your chest open. Beautiful. And because she's leaned back, her head's back in line with her hips. Can you see that? So now she can get a beautiful twist and her hands have come to the middle of her chest. Thanks, Clara. And then come back to center. Beautiful. Can you show us from the side? So you can twist the other way or that way again. Cool. And then as she comes down, she's going to come into chair, hands to heart center. And then she takes a twist to the left this time. She's going to lean forwards to get that hook. Can you see her hands are kind of like by her armpit? When she leans back and twists, it helps you to bring your hands towards the middle of your chest. Can you see that? The leaning back makes that possible. And then a little bit of a push of your elbow into your thigh, and now she's got that beautiful line. Thank you, Clara. Stunning. Thank you. Now you can watch the others. Let's go. Standing up in Tadasana. Feet together or feet slightly apart. Bend your knees and sweep into chair pose with your weight back into your heels. Bring hands to heart center. Take a twist to the right. Hook your elbow on your outer thigh. Notice what naturally happened. Your knee, one knee slid forwards of the other knee. Awesome. Now lean your shoulders back a little bit so your head's back in line with your hips. And then Cindy's try and get your elbow hooked on your outer thigh more. Yeah, hook that elbow on your behind your knee. And then push your elbow into your bottom thigh to twist. Yes, nice poses, everyone. Feel that on the other side? Yes, Cindy, can you feel? So you want your elbow to hook on your outer leg. Yes, even more. Bend your knees more. Yes, let's feel that on the other side when you guys are ready. Can you feel how when you lean your shoulders back and push your elbow into your thigh, how that helps to bring your hands to center? Nice there, Amy. Yeah, Sheena, that looks beautiful. Nice, Marley, beautiful. Twist, 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 twist. Yes, Belinda, nice. Ron, think of lifting your chest and lengthening a little bit more. Good. And then Ari, lean your shoulders back towards the camera more. You're still leaning to the wall. Lean back to me. Yeah, allow the knees to go. That's all good. Yes. Just so you're not leaning too far forward so that you bring it back. Whew. Okay, take a break. I know that one's quite fierce. Yes, that's nice, Elaine. Good. Whew. Shake it out. Twists are quite full on. Clara, could you see the difference when they lean back like this? How you're able to get that beautiful hand to center line. And it's an aesthetic thing, and it opens up the chest, right? So when you go out and demonstrate that you're getting this beautiful twist with your hands towards the middle of your chest as much as possible. It's hard. Any questions? Elaine,
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say thanks so much, because I've always been told, no, you must move your heart. And I was always like, how must I move my heart? I could never get that right. And just something else, though, just off topic, but the sun salutation sequences, are they in the manual?
You know, let me look, because we've just updated the manual. I have to find the page number for you. There is a flowy sequence for you. So Elaine, I'll put that on the chat for you. It isn't, you're going to have to kind of know it out your head. There isn't like a set format, but there is it in a few different places. And today I'm going to send you a WhatsApp video of the sun salutation to also have a visual video of the one you want.
Okay, great.
I will send you both of those after this session.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Okie dokie. I forgot to make you guys do it with your knees together and feel how that stops the twist. But anyway, I won't exhaust you. Alice?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. So after we've let the hips, do what they want to do, should I then, because I find myself, I think even before this, I would let my hips do what they want to do, but then I try and adjust my knees to align. Is that okay, or should we just leave it?
Important. You can just leave your knees where they are. I mean, you are very mobile. So, I mean, if you drew back a little bit, you're probably not losing any twist. But for a lot of people, they need as much of that twist into the hips as possible. By drawing your knees back, you're reducing the twist.
Okay.
If you're able to do, I mean, it's totally fine if that feels good in your body. But allowing the knees to go is also just leave them there is fine.
And they can stay there for the duration of the whole twist, even when we open up and... Okay.
Absolutely. You'll feel it's so much more freeing. You can twist more. It depends what your focus is. If your focus is to twist to the max, let your knees go. It's not important. If your focus is to have like knee stability and hips straight within a twist, then you would instruct it that way. Can you see how I never give you a clear answer? It's always depending on what you want to do it for. So Alice, I say it's fine. Let your knees just stay where they are. For your students, don't even worry about the knees. If you never cued them to keep their knees straight, it would never even occur to them because it just naturally happens. So I think that would be my go-to. For you, both is probably fine. Okay, any other questions around that revolved chair pose? Yeah, all good. Okay, the lean back of the shoulders is kind of the key to all of these twists. Okay, so next, what the two poses that are in your assessment, which is probably all we'll have time for today, is a twist in a low lunge and a twist in a high lunge. Okay. So in your manual, just so I can bring this back to poses, let's just feed it. So Parivrita Parsvakonasana is quite a mouthful on page 67. It's the revolved side angle pose. Page 67, one back from where you were. Okay. So I'm going to say if you can name this pose, it's revolved side angle. Can you also put / twisted high lunge? Because I'm going to teach you the modified version. So revolved side angle is Parivrita Parsvakonasana, revolved side angle pose. And then just call / it also can be done like a twisted high lunge. So that makes it a much more accessible way of doing this pose. And why? What do you think the huge difference in that is? We looked at Warrior One and where the hips were. Remember how we couldn't turn the hips to the front in Warrior One? And then how we could turn the hips in high lunge. So now that's how this translates. If we are doing it with the back foot down, your hips can't turn with you, basically. As you can see in the picture, that lady, her heel is down. I think it's a lady, I don't have it in front of me. Where if we do it on the ball of the back foot, you're going to feel how it's so much nicer. So anatomically, it just will work better. So we're going to do it the modified way. Try both. Remember, always feel it. Don't just take my word for it. Feel it. Okay. All right. You're going to do that this time. Let's go. We're going to come into high lunge because you know what you're doing now. Same hook as chair. So you can come from plank downward dog or simply step back into high lunge. Right foot forwards. Inhale your arms up in high lunge. Good. Be on the ball of your back foot. Michaela, wider, 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 wider. Okay, and if that's okay for you, hands to heart center. Twist to the right. So you're going to lean forwards and hook your left elbow to your outer right thigh. Twist towards me, Cindy. Hook your left elbow to your right outer leg. Other way, twist towards your front leg. So with these twists, it's all about twisting to your front leg. So Cindy, have a look. Have a look on the screen at one of the students that you need to twist to your front leg. So hook your opposite elbow, left elbow to right knee. Okay, I'm not going to hold you guys here forever. Now lean your shoulders back. Twist your chest open. Push your elbow down to your outer thigh to bring your hands more to the center of your chest. Like you felt in chair pose. Yes. Now put your back heel on the floor, like the classical way. What happens? It pulls you out of the twist, right? And you all fell over. Okay, Nicole could do that. So some of you, it is possible. Feel that on the other side. Cindy, come with me. Okay, let's go. Step your left foot forwards and take a twisted high lunge on the other side. So Cindy, now you've got your left foot in front. Take your right elbow to your left knee. So look at me, Cindy. Yes, 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 you've got it. You've got it. Yes, Cindy, you've got it. There you are. Yes, lean your shoulders back. Twist your chest open. Beautiful. Keep your front knee stacked over your ankle because it helps you to keep that hook of your knee on your outer thigh. Good. And now you can lower your back knee down and you can do the same in a twisted low lunge. Yes. So we'll be doing both twisted low lunge and twisted high lunge in your assessment, just like this. Okay. So feel it if you want again on the other side. Let's talk about the arms opening. Okay, before we go, let's check in quickly. Okay. Take a little breather because I know those are quite intense. So in your assessment, you're going to do a twist in a low lunge and a twist in a high lunge with your hands in prayer, okay? Because that is the most accessible way to do the pose, right? When you want to open your arms up is where it almost becomes really tough. So I'm going to try and show you. This is going to just bear with me here. Okay. So just for clarity, in your assessment, you're going to do a low lunge, okay? Twist and hook, okay? My hook sucks right now. You're going to do high lunge and twist and hook, all right, with hands in the middle of the chest. If you want to open your arms out, okay, your bottom arm needs to shoot down this way and your top arm opens up like this. Okay, who wants to try with their arms open? Let's have a demo. Any volunteers? Ron, I can see you at the top of my screen. Okay, Ron's going to come into it from a high lunge. And can you do it with your leg that's closest to us? Swap legs so we can see you when you twist to us. Thank you. Okay, can you all see Ron? Cool. He's going to bring his hands to heart center. He's going to take a twist towards us and hook his right elbow to his left outer thigh. Get a really good hook. Yes. Fantastic. So this is where I expect most of you to go. Just to this is hard enough. So now, Ruan, your left hand, place it down towards the floor, but shoot it back slightly. Other hand, sorry, your right hand. That was my bad. Instead of putting it by your ankle, yes, put it further back towards the back of the mat. So it's like a diagonal. Yes. That helps you to keep the hook. Now remember the face downward sweep. Sweep your top hand in front of your face. Other way, and then over in line with your ear. That makes it easier to get your arm in that position. Can you see it's really hard? Yes. So Ruan, have your arms almost like this. One arm over in line with the ear, top arm in line with the ear. Take it over. Yes, I know, it's so tough. It is so tough. He's doing really great. There, stop your arm there. Perfect. Can you see his arms are almost one arm's forwards, the other one's back on a diagonal? That's the arm position. Well done, Ruan. He's sweating now because it's hard, and release. Thank you. Great demonstration. You won't volunteer for that anytime soon again. Yes, Ruan.
The camera was a bit confusing because as I was moving my hand forward, it's going backwards on the camera. So it's doing all kinds of weird things.
Okay. So guys, could you see Ruan's arms there? They were like almost like this. One arm was shooting back and the other one is overhead. That is actually the arm position. It's really hard. I don't expect you to do it, but if you want to try, you can. If you'd like to do what Ruan's just done, go for it. Ari, you were giving it a go. Give it another bash. So from a high lunge, if you guys are like exhausted and done, don't worry. Or you can repeat low lunge and high lunge with hands in prayer, because that's all I'm expecting for you to do. Okay, on the ball of the back foot so your hips can twist with you. That's it, Annalise, but your bottom finger's on the floor. Yes. Remember, the purpose of the pose is to twist. So if you feel these funky arms are actually just pulling you out of the pose and stopping you from actually twisting, keep your hands in prayer. That's it, Michaela, but bottom hand on the floor. So bend deep into those legs. The more you lunge, the closer the floor gets to you. Yeah. Nice, Alice. Alice, bend your front knee a little bit more to keep your knee stacked over your ankle. It also will help with that hook of the upper arm. That's it, Miriam. Same for you. Bend your front knee more, and that knee will keep it stacked. So Amy, hook your bottom arm over your thigh. It's really hard. You guys are crazy for trying this. Yes, that's it, Amy. That hook will keep you in the pose. Yes, Annalise, you got it. Yay! Nice, Belinda. Well done. That's it, Ari. Yes, Nicole. Beautiful pose there, Nicole. Pause, stay there, Nicole. Nicole's really got it here. She's crazy. She's got it. She's got little beautiful long legs. That is that perfect line. It's really hard. Hands in prayer is perfect. Okay. Thanks, Nicole. All right, release, relax. When we do these poses again, I will also advise you, listen, keep your hands in prayer. That looks best on you. Okay. Or I'll say, hey, why don't you open your arms out and go for it? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We're just feeling what works best for your body. Well done, guys. Those 3 twists, standing twists, are in your assessment. The revolved chair, revolved low lunge, and high lunge. Okay, I don't mind if you do the open arm thing. It's not important to me. I want to see how you can twist and how you're going to demonstrate that best to your students. There are some other twists I'll recap on and we'll go through and talk about the next time. But now you've learned a lot of the most important poses. Okay, those standing poses from yesterday are huge. Okay, you're going to need to practice your high lunge, your warrior 2, side angle, triangle. Really, really important to get those. Remember, it feels different now because you've got natural hips and you're trying to bring in all that new information. So please go through that again. And then today we learned really important balances like the warrior 3, half moon and dances. Okay, those take time, as you felt, to really perfect. So work on those. And then these twists. Just trying to bring your hands towards the midline and lengthening your spine in the twist. Okay, there's quite a lot. And that is like a huge portion of your end assessment where I'm going to review your poses. So as soon as possible, try and get those poses waxed. Okay. Any questions? Elaine?
Hi, so just a quick thing I just always get confused with. Is a low lunge always got the knee on the floor, or are there different varieties of low lunge?
As you say, there's different varieties of low lunge. So you can have your back knee off the floor or your back knee on the floor. I'm going to actually clarify it because I didn't get to it yesterday. I'm going to clarify that with you guys on Friday next week when I see you. We're going to do low lunge and lizard, and we'll discuss it then, Elaine. And then we also do low lunge and a back bend, and we're doing low lunge and a twist. So in this case, with the twist, the knee is on the floor, but it can be both. Okay, it's a good question. I know it always is asked. Okay, anything else? You guys have done really well. Annalise?
So what do you recommend us doing this week in terms of practicing our poses? Do you should we do like repeat the sessions that we've done with you that's now recorded?
Yes, and that would be great. So you're welcome to go through those classes again if you like. I don't know if Catherine added them to your weekly schedule. If you can fit in the classes, you can go through them again, because remember, you're going to be teaching one of those classes for 30 minutes. So quite nice to get them in your head. We normally just choose it alphabetically, who teaches what. You'll be assigned a sequence soon. Which would be a nice warm-up for you. If you have the time during the week, I understand some of you have busy lives and jobs. If you don't have time, then just focus on these poses. So do your sun salutations with your slow chaturangas, will be great. And then standing poses. So then go through all the poses we've done. You can watch the recording again and repeat it. And then I also recommend working with your video and watching yourself or in front of a mirror and see if you can correct yourself. Or sometimes, like for me, I video myself on my phone and then I'll watch it back. And then it's also quite handy if you don't understand something, you can send me your video and then say, oh, am I doing this right? So go through all the standing, all the balancing, and then the twists that we've done would be fantastic. Okay. It's quite a lot, but just take it day by day. Even if you only have 15 minutes on your mat, and go through triangle, side angle, warrior two, and then just really get it ingrained. Okay, if you have any questions, you know I'm available on WhatsApp. And well done. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I will see you next Friday. You'll see Catherine a little bit later. Well done. Well done to all of you. Keep up the
This is fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.